Well, hello everybody. And here it is, a Wednesday night, and I am free! I am not wearing armor, I'm not wearing the metal, but it is time to get hardcore. As we are playing a little bit of my setting, the Fall of Faerun, which, if this is your first time joining us, the Fall of Faerun is exactly that, the Forgotten Realms, but this time it is set during a zombie apocalypse. Now, this zombie apocalypse, you would think, bring out the clerics, bring out the paladins. However, in this particular scenario, divine magic doesn't work. These zombies cannot be turned. They cannot be reasoned with, if the undead ever could be. They cannot be taken for granted, as the undead often are now. So, before we get into that, we have to know exactly what we're doing, especially if you did join us for the last mini-campaign of the Fall of Faerun. When we started that campaign, we were in the City of Splendor's Waterdeep. We're south of that now, and we're earlier than that now, about a week to be exact. What's going on right now is a great victory has been achieved, everyone. Down in the continent of Chult, a great evil has been bested. The soulmonger responsible for the death curse has been destroyed, disabled. Those that had died and been brought back by divine magic and had then been affected by the death curse found their withering bodies to be slowly restoring, rejuvenating, and regenerating. They are back among the living. And it wasn't just a group that was responsible for this fantastic victory. It was a coalition of heroes. Now, the heroes that you are about to meet, they were not the ones at the front lines, not the ones that bested the mighty evil, but they were there. They fought in Chult. They made sure that all of the enemies and the monsters that were there to guard and keep the death curse active and keep the mongering were taken care of. And so, as they travel north back to the great port city of Baldur's Gate, only a great celebration can await them. It is midsummer as well, and we have this conflux of celebration where weddings and betrothals are aplenty, and then you add to that the fact that that death has been beaten again. And so, as we go from our mind's eye from the clouds above Faerun down into the twilight that surrounds the Bay of Baldur's Gate, there is a ship, the Countess's Rose. Same ship that has carried our heroes from Chult. They are here, and they are taxiing to the city. But first we must meet them before they meet their fates. Let's bring them in. Welcome in, everybody, to the Fall of Faerun. Many have gone before you. Many have proven themselves to be heroes written in the stars. Will you do the same? Will you die with honor? Will you die with dishonor? Will you die at all? Let's find out, and let's learn to love these people before they're torn apart by zombies. Let's start with my friend Dawn. Dawn, how are you doing? Who will you be playing? And what is your first action of the character you're about to describe?
Well, I'm doing great, and I will be playing Sir Tomb, the Knight of Worms, tonight. Sir Tomb, in the middle of the night, on the journey back from Chult, not seeing as well in the dark when he was drunk, thought that one of the masts of the ship was an assassin. And so he struck the assassin very hard with his glaive, and he almost broke the mast. He doesn't do any sort of woodworking. So he, right now, worried that the mast is going to fall over, has been like standing there, and he's just kind of holding it, make sure it doesn't break the rest of the way, watching for Baldur's Gate. He's dressed in plate mail armor. He's wrapped with a sand-blasted yellow cloak, and the cloak has a hood on it that goes over his head, and hiding his face is a dark iron mask. And behind the mask, you can see two slitted green eyes, but otherwise all of his features are covered.
Fantastic. And as Sir Toombs is on the deck of the Contessa's Rose, making sure that the mast doesn't split asunder, with every creak from every gale that has taken the ship's mast from Chult to here, or from the attack on the assassin till now, several of the sailors walk by, giving a side eye, not a full eye. They're not that brazen or brave, yet many of their faces hold the expression of, we can't wait till this guy is off our boat. But of course, I'm sure that's not how they feel about our next person. Cleric, welcome to Fall of Faerun. Describe who you will be playing, and please tell us what their first action will be in this Night of 1,000 Deaths.
Thank you, Greg. Hi, I'm Kadam, a cleric of Horde, and I am playing Cyrano, a half-orc bard who is in the process of writing a letter to his cousin, Rosa. And he is scratching out the lines and scrawling back in and then scratching them out again. And every once in a while, he crumples the sheet of paper up and tosses it overboard and starts writing again. He is dressed in a breastplate with a shirt that has seen action, as he has as well. Cape, short cape, and his pride and joy beyond the very long tusks that he has. His pride and joy is his hat with the pristine white feather plume.
Fantastic, fantastic. And as that white feather plume is blowing lazily in the almost perfect breezes that are touching both the Bay of Baldur's Gate and the city, you would assume itself, as you get closer to the area, whether or not the words flow more quickly, your progress does, as it seems these last few moments from the open sea to the bay moving much quicker than the rest of the journey. But as we peel away from the white plume and the man holding the mast, let's go over to Charlie. Charlie, welcome in to Fall of Faerun. Who will you be playing? What is their first action of the evening on this, a wonderful night of apocalyptic terror?
Well, I am playing Tinder, who currently swings lazily in the hammock, one leg dangling out. All along her leg, you see these fine, fiery gems, which are kind of embedded into her flesh. In her lap, a very large book. Copyright. And she is studying very hard. Perched up on her shoulder, a small crab pokes at her hair, pulls at it. It would like the page changed. She tells Swipe Right to wait. It's not time yet.
I'm sorry, the crab's name is...
Swipe Right.
Okay. And as the crab is impatient with the slow reading of its friend, let's go over to my buddy Bill. Bill, how are you? Who will you be playing? And what is their first action tonight, the last night of civilization?
I'm doing great, thanks for asking. I'm Bill of the Forest. I'll be playing De Niro, a goblin rogue. So, swelling with self-confidence after this victory, he will have engaged many of the crew in several games of chance that he has rigged in order to win money off of said crew. And right now he is lounging on the corner of the ship, watching as Baldur's Gate approaches closer and closer, waiting to be greeted with cheers and money, and has several beads to exchange for lewd acts.
It is Midsummer Festival. The beads may go uncollected, but we'll see. Who knows? It may be that type of party tonight. We're not quite sure. And speaking of that type of party, welcome to the party, Pope. Tell us who you'll be playing, my friend, and what is their first action on tonight, the last time the sun rises on a world that can recognize it.
Well, tonight I'm going to be playing Little Eddie Wedge, a lovable fool of a halfling, hyper superstitious, paranoid. But is it paranoia when they're all out to get you? Is it? But right now he's busy because, I mean, with all this victory, this pomp and circumstance, people not paying attention to the little snacks that they have in the kitchen, and people carrying, bits and pieces of sausage from their rations just hanging off their pouches. You can easily grab a snack. And as he slips a sausage and gnaws upon it, he's having to consult with his bosses, and thus produces the deck. And is going to do a quick reading, seeing what's in store.
Okay, so as the sausage is slipped, we get a reading.
Mixed news. The Mountain Man. It's usually a sign of chaos, mayhem. Not necessarily for good or ill, but it doesn't bode well for order.
So with the reading read, as Eddie and De Niro and Tinder and Cyrano and Toombs travel along the Contessa's Rose towards the docks of Baldur's Gate, I will describe quickly how everyone can interact with these fine folks that you have just met. If you look straight down, you will see that there are several things that if you would care to influence the narrative, you can. I prefer if you just let fate take its hand, but you will see that several of these are named after members of the Legion, which is our community here on Tales from the Grim. So if things look bleak, you can help. If they look bleak and you like it, let it ride, because I guarantee you it will. Now, in addition to all of that, each of our players will be starting with a mechanic known as Honor. They each are playing third-level characters who begin with 20 honor points. These honor points can be spent in numerous ways that I could reveal during the course of the narrative, but two of them I'll let you know right now. If they elect to want to roll with advantage before they roll, they can spend 5 honor points. Now, if they roll and realize that sucks, they can spend 10 honor points after the roll to roll again with advantage. So, as we get in on all of this, there's nothing left to do but in the world. So as we go towards Baldur's Gate, I will simply ask everybody, as you all have mentioned you're on deck, I would like you all then to roll me a perception check. Excellent, excellent. So Toombs starts out with a natural 20, and we have De Niro with a 21 as well. For seeing shit. The seeing shit doesn't go quite as planned, but De Niro and Toombs, here's what you see. Toombs especially. As you look around, you see that there is a lot of traffic in Baldur's Gate, especially the bay here, as it is a trading hub for many points, both south and north. But in particular, as you pass through the mouth of the bay and get into the large kind of protected waters and move towards the dock, you see that there are several ferries or tugs coming out to guide the larger craft into the docks. And as the boats of the harbor master are coming out, Toombs, you also identify two things. There seem to be, and you can hear this at your position at the mast, kind of floating over the breeze that was just buffeting the waves in the city. You hear it sounds like an argument. And what languages do you speak, Toombs?
He speaks Common, and he speaks Draconic, and he speaks Abyssal.
Ah, yeah, no warning signs there, everyone. but this speech that's coming across to you is in a language you do not understand, but there is a tonality to the language that would indicate, especially with a natural 20, an argument is afoot. And as you kind of cast your gaze around and identify the source, you see two large dwarven tankers that seem to be in a dispute either over the space that they're occupying or direction. One's facing into the bay, one's facing out of the bay. And De Niro and Toombs, the last thing that you notice as the tugboats are coming closer is that one of them appears, the one headed towards your ship, seems to be going pretty fast. Welcome to the Fall of Faerun, friends. Your actions are yours. What will you do?
So De Niro has history piloting water vessels. So he notices that, perks up, looks towards another sailor. Hey, don't you think that that boat's going a little too fast? I mean, we're in the bay. We don't need that kind of speed in here.
This one casts an eye over to Toombs, as you can tell that this particular sailor hasn't gathered his belongings for what will surely be a party on shore. He does, however, have what looks like tar and pitch to again further reinforce the mast after everyone is off. He appears disgusted by the entire state of events. He looks at you, though. What do you mean? What? He is going pretty fast. Hey! What the hell's he going so fast for? A couple more of the sailors look, but there are several more that kind of wave it off. But its speed is not decreased.
How far would it have to jump to reach the ship, or is there...
It's the ship that you're currently on. It's not moving. Its sails are up. It's basically a waiting tug into the bay. The tug that's approaching, though, is approaching at top speed. You figure it'll be here in about 30 seconds?
It's
Tomb.
not... Sorry, go ahead.
Sir Tomb lets go of the mast, forgetting that whatever condition it's in, he doesn't care anymore. And he turns towards the coming ship, in the direction of the coming ship, and he pulls his glaive out from where it's strapped at his back, and he says, "It could be assassins."
It could be.
That's what you said about the noodle cart.
I'm not worried about it being assassins so much as I am worried about it being idiots.
Idiots definitely sounds much more likely. This is Baldur's Gate after all. Cyrano puts away his writing implements, gathers his things, and is keeping one eye on the mast, and then to the ship, and then to Sir Tomb, and then the mast, and the ship, and Sir Tomb, and moving out of the line of wherever that mast is going to go.
And is there like a commanding officer within eyesight?
Yeah, you would know that there is the captain that has been in charge of all of this is Captain Anna Tucker, and she's the one that has brought you from Chult to here. But if you, let's see, with your previous perception check, you would know that she's back on the poop deck.
Within eyesight? No.
Well, at your lower level, you'd have to probably climb up the ladders to get to her. But if you yelled for her, I'm sure she could probably hear you.
Yeah, that's what. So I'm gonna like stand on something tall to try to gain height over everyone. Captain Tucker, there's this boat. It's going real fast. We just went through a hell of an ordeal, and I came back to party. So I'll be goddamn if I'm gonna let this person wreck my show.
It takes a moment, but you see Captain Tucker look over the edge as she looks down to the Goblin De Niro. And as she looks for a moment, and then she turns, and it's at that point that she recognizes that the tug is in fact going entirely too fast. For those of you with a nautical background, you might even say ramming speed. You all have 10 seconds, or a round and some change. What would you all like to do as this tugboat is going to hit the Contessa's Rose.
Braced for impact. If I have time, tie myself to the rail.
Okay. You can lash yourself to the rail. Sure.
I'm sorry. Are we far from shore? Like, what's the swimming distance or the jumping distance?
Yeah, you're about 150 yards from the docks. It's also the Bay of Baldur's Gate is a horseshoe. The open end, of course, being the open water, there is a north end, a center end that heads off to the east, and then a southern end. All of it is an equal kind of share of the city of Baldur's Gate, which is an almost perfect crescent. But right now you're in the middle of that crescent. If this were a Pac-Man game, you would be a pellet just ready to be eaten.
If this thing is 10 seconds from us, can we see people on the other ship? Does it look like there's people on the deck?
With your previous natural 20, Sir Toombs, I will let you know that there is an awful lot of screaming coming from the boat. It seems to carry over the water like a vanguard for the ship itself.
Toombs in armor, and he's not very good at swimming. So he shakes his cloak, and as he's kind of stomping towards the edge of the ship, towards the rails, and just handfuls of worms start falling out of his cloak and onto the deck of the ship. And he bends his knees and he kind of gets ready, and he calls out, "Who sent you?" And he's just waiting until they're close enough that if they're going to ram into the ship, he'll jump onto the other ship.
Okay. Charlie?
Tinder continues to read, completely oblivious to all that is happening. Opponents in the second and the fourth rounds must... Oh, hey, be quiet up there! I'm studying! And she just continues reading her book.
Okay, and Tinder, I'm sorry, is below deck then. Is she...
Fantastic. Swinging lightly. Lazy leg out the side.
Love it. And De Niro, you're the one that has recognized this, brought this out to Captain Tucker, or pointed it out to Captain Tucker. Sir Toombs is getting ready to fight a boat. What are you going to do?
So the mast there's a broken mast, and then are there any other masts on the ship? How large is the boat?
The main mast has not broken, it's so much as cracked, correct? It was attacked by Toombs, it was not sundered by Toombs. So it is compromised, it is not down. But there are two other smaller masts that go up to work with the positional sails, but the main mast is cracked. So you still have two other ones should you elect to do something with those.
Okay, so one of the healthier masts I'm going to climb, and that's that, and brace for impact.
Roll me an acrobatics or athletics to see how far you get. Because of course you can climb, but how far can you make it? Pope, what's Eddie doing?
Eddie, hearing and seeing all this chaos, looking back at his deck of shadows, just kind of winces, and then tries to remember if there's a dinghy on this vessel and if he can rush to hide in it.
Okay, you want to preemptively get into the launching craft, or in this case, a lifeboat.
Yes.
Yes, there is a dinghy. It is actually a larger boat, more like a whaler. But yeah, it has one. It's already strung off to the side. Conveniently, it is the side opposite, or the port side, from where it could potentially get hit. So you would be putting the boat between yourself if you got in the dinghy.
Yeah. Rush as fast as his little legs can carry him, and then just heave-ho himself over the railing and into the dinghy.
Okay, I will allow your hoe to be heaved, as I would like everybody on the boat to please roll me a dexterity saving throw. Now, Toombs, since you've seen this thing coming from the beginning, and De Niro, since you were able to actually formulate some type of warning for the captain, you may both make this dexterity saving throw with advantage. Everybody else, though, you are along for the ride.
Now, with second story work, I'm able to climb high, the thief trait, but All right, yeah. All
Shit!
right.
So that's Don's second nat 20 of the night. That's not at all disconcerting on what I wanted to do. No, I'm joking. No, I'm not. Okay, so Billy, you're able to get De Niro well up the mast. In fact, you're getting very close to what would serve as the crow's nest for this smaller mast. It's not an actual positioning place, but it is somewhere that if during a storm or there needs to be something that needs to be triangulated, people could get up and kind of lock themselves into this seat on top of the mast. And De Niro's able to make it all the way up there, 40 feet over the deck. Everybody else, if you rolled lower than a 12, I'm going to give choices. If you succeeded and you rolled greater than a 12, which I believe is definitely not Tinder, but it's Cyrano, it is Toombs, and it is De Niro, you all have a choice. You can go into the water or you can take damage. Anyone want to go into the water?
I do not want to go into the water.
You don't have that choice. Only people that succeeded. So, Kat, Dawn, and Billy, into the water or take damage?
Into the water.
Oh man.
I'm close to the dinghy.
Take damage. I'm taking damage.
Billy,
Yeah, if
you
I
take
can't.
1 damage.
How much? Just so
One.
I know. Okay.
Just
Thanks for testing that. Yeah, if he can't make the jump onto the other ship, the way that it's coming in, then he doesn't want to go into the water. Toom will take damage too.
Okay, so I will allow you to take an additional 1 damage, as Toombs does in fact make it over to the other craft, but was once 2 separate crafts. The Contessa's Rose and the aforementioned tug that was coming in has now quickly become 1 craft, as the splintering and the crack of timbers and sea-saturated wood bends and snaps as the smaller craft tears into the galleon. And as we cut down to the inside, anybody that failed that roll, you will each take 5 damage and are knocked prone. So for Eddie and for Tinder, you are knocked out of the hammock without any warning whatsoever. And as you crash to the ground, your book, the next sentence, and the page that your crab so desperately wanted to turn to, forever potentially unread. You crash to the ground. You each take 5 damage. You are lying prone. And I'd like to roll some initiative as creatures begin to stream off of the boat onto the Contessa's Rose.
This is very not good for Swipe Right, who just disappears in a poof.
Okay, great. So it looks like we've got, let's see, Pope, Cyrano, and Dawn, who has the higher dex bonus.
Mine is +0.
Okay.
2.
Cat, Dawn. And Charlie, what did you roll for initiative? Is that 6 or no? Oh, down 17. Okay. Fantastic.
Yes, Swipe Right
Fantastic.
in a poof of damage as he tumbles to the floor.
Okay. So I poked Charlie, Cat, Dawn, Billy, and then we have our friends. The scene is as follows, everyone. Those of you that are still remaining upright and not knocked prone, you see that as soon as this pilot craft hit, several of these humanoid creatures leapt from the bow of the boat over onto the Contessa's Rose. They hit, stumbled, some of them rolling, losing their balance with the impact, some of them landing deftly and not falling at all. However, half of the crew of the Contessa's Rose either hit the drink or hit the deck. Those on the deck are prey and fodder for these creatures as they begin to tear them and rent them with their flesh. Tombs, as you jump over onto the other boat, or what would have been the other boat until a few moments ago, and the decking is buckling beneath your feet. However, you're able to somehow keep your sea legs even amidst this incredible crash. You see that there are several of these creatures, and you seem to have jumped beyond their initial assault. When you look around, there are two on the boat devouring what looks like husks of meat. But first, Eddie, you're on your back. There are footsteps and screams everywhere. The once beautiful wind that accompanied the Contessa's Rose to Baldur's Gate carries with it the smell of death. But it's your turn.
I didn't make it to the dinghy, did I? All right.
You made it to the dinghy, but we're going to say you made it with extreme prejudice. As just as you leapt, you crashed into the dinghy and are prone at the bottom of the craft, taking the damage that you sustained.
Okay.
But you made it.
In that case, spend half my move to get up. Just holler over the edge. If you got two good legs and are accompanied by whatever snarling, please come down. As getting over by the winch and just starting up with what little strength he's got to just start moving everything and get it going.
Absolutely. Roll me in athletics. It begins. You get, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12, 3, 6, 9, 12, a couple cranks. And even with the few rotations that you're able to implement, Eddie, you notice that at your position at the back of the craft, everything begins to tilt towards you as you realize there is another crank at the front of the boat to help them each winch lower itself into the water. So you're a little like this right now, but you're below the line of the railing, we'll say, so you can't really see what's on deck. Anything else you'd like to do, my friend?
With that, consuming the last of a move action, he's gonna pull his club, and as a bonus action, just because of worry and getting that one little tip from his patrons, going to cast Shillelagh.
How's that look?
Quickly just pulls up the staff, then takes Crystal. By Winter's grace, I ask your help. And just smacks the top, and all of a sudden the club is slowly just coated in ice crystals, going down and forming a small guard around his hand.
And so it is. As we leave the dinghy and we go beneath the decks to Charlie. Charlie, what's going on down there with Tinder?
Oh, I bet it is that Sir Tom again, beating up the ship. And she's like scrambling around, getting back up, using half her movement speed, and looking around. And what does she see as she looks around, Bloodex?
When you put your hands down to push yourself off the deck as the hammock kind of swings madly above you, you feel the temperate waters, the temperate salt water of Baldur's Gate Harbor as an inch, 2, 3 now occupy the floor. It begins to slosh around, and you see that there are several compromised boards in this position of the boat. And that compromised nature is allowing nature itself to creep into the boat. What would you like to do?
Who let the water on the boat? And she's like hardly getting up. Like, this is her version of the floor is lava. I mean, this is the floor is water. And so she's like scrambling to get back up into her hammock and looking up. And she'll call out for her friends who she'd been out on this great heroic mission with, and we've done really well on it. And she's, Sireno, Sartum, who is up there? And so she's gonna hide and just hope the water goes away.
Okay, as the hammock is once again occupied and hiding is taking place. Roll a stealth check for me just to see. Cyrano, you've jumped off the boat, correct?
Was headed for the dinghy.
Headed for the dinghy. Okay,
Yep.
Roll me a perception check then.
All right. Yeah, off the boat and headed for the dinghy, I believe is what he was doing. Oh.
Okay. So as the voice of Tinder floats up from below decks, the wind catches it before it reaches the ears of Cyrano, passing him by and not alerting him to the plight of his friend beneath the boards. Kat, it is your turn, unless, Charlie, you have something else other than hanging out. You look really hidden, too. You think you're hidden.
All the way up.
If it were possible to hide in a hammock, you think you've done it.
I am a master of hiding.
Kat,
I'm
what
doing
would
that
you
thing
like to do?
that 5-year-old kids do when they hide, where they have to like peek.
Right.
They just can't.
When kids figure if they can't see, then no one can see them, so you're just hiding your eyes. You know, it's the
This'll
perfect
work.
crime.
Object permanency. I'll experiment.
You got it.
Well, Cyrano was going to leap off the boat and swim his way to the dinghy, having seen Eddie do that. But he'd forgotten that he had tied himself to the railing. So he didn't get very far when he leaped off the boat. So he's going to pull himself back on the deck of the rope and then assess the situation at that moment in time.
Okay, Kat, you would see then that, or Cyrano would see that Eddie is in the boat, half of it being lowered. There is a crank on the front of the boat that's going to need to be lowered kind of in tandem to get it to drop into the water. However, the water seems to be rising to meet it, which is a help, I guess. As you look around, you see that Sir Toombs is over on the other boat, and we're just going to go ahead and say that you also notice that De Niro is up in the mast.
And the rest of the crew, are any of them appearing to be alive at the moment?
Many of them are alive, but they're currently in the early stages of being food. So several bites have been taken out of them. They're very much alive and screaming and bleeding and dying, but they're alive at present.
Well, on his way to the dinghy, then he will attack whatever is attacking one of the crew, the nearest one.
Okay. For your act of bravery, I will give you 5 honor points as you can tee off on our very first zombie. Please roll me an attack roll.
All right. And as he's looking about, he goes, will all who wish to die, please raise your hands. Raise your hands. Come. Raise your hands.
The zombie nearest to you, not recognizing exactly what you're saying, but falling into line, as the narrative often does, sees you, tears a piece off of the dying man beneath him, smiles with the flesh still dripping, and reaches for you as if to bring you down. But it is a raised hand.
Then can I spend the honor after the fact to get the advantage on this if it'll hit?
Yeah, you'll have to spend 10 now. That'll take you down to 15 total.
Done. So that's 9 piercing.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and re-roll again? So, yeah, we'll go ahead and just re-roll the advantages again because you can see what you have. That doesn't help.
Oh, wait, I rolled the wrong thing. Jeez.
I'll take the 17, though. I'm sure it'll be the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, either one will hit. Roll me your damage now for that one.
Okay. 4 for that one, and then he'll do the offhand with the dagger. Would you like me to re-roll that?
No, you can go ahead and roll that one straight up.
Okay.
Or no, you can take the 23. I'm being
Okay.
benevolent. Go ahead and hit and roll me damage for that.
6.
Okay, so as you drive these two terrible wounds home, the creature looks up and you take the lower section or a third of its jaw just beneath the bottom mandible or the bottom row of teeth, and you swipe both its jaw and some of the flesh that it's still chewing with said jaw from its carriage and from its face. It sloshes onto the deck of the Contessa's Rose, but the creature looks at you, these wild, burning eyes still fixated. Does not seem to care. Anything else?
No. He's going to stay there, try to give whatever crew can get to the dinghy the best chance to get to the dinghy.
In holding your position, I will give you another 5 honor points, as this is a battle that seems not pitched, not undecided, but decidedly lost. As we go to Dawn, Sir Toombs, you are on the boat that previously was the guide craft or the pilot for Baldur's Gate. There are 2 of these creatures in front of you. They don't seem to have noticed you yet, though, and there is, of course, a terrible conflict on your prior boat. What would you like to do?
If I look over into the water, are there creatures swimming too?
You can roll me a perception check. I'll give it to you for free.
16.
You see a lot of froth in the water, but you don't see any of these creatures in the water. There's a lot of people that have been thrown off by the impact. You imagine that a lot of the churn that's going on right now is likely people from the Contessa's Rose that were knocked overboard.
And is the ship that I'm on also sinking?
With a 16, I'll tell you this, it certainly doesn't seem sturdy.
And last question: these two creatures are eating somebody right now. They're like bent over.
No, they were bent over these husks of meat, but they are kind of almost as one standing up. Even though, if we're talking about just making sure you finish your plate, there's still plenty of things to eat on these two bodies that are lying there, but they are lifting themselves up almost as one and are beginning to turn in your direction, but you get a chance to act first here. They are unaware of your presence.
So, with his bonus action, Sir Tomb shakes his gauntlet, and from it spills a pile of worms. And when the worms hit the deck, they pop, and out of them fly a horde of flies. Those flies whip around his glaive, and they kind of reshape his glaive. It's like there's a large hammer made of flies buzzing around his glaive. As I use my bonus action to cast Thunderous Smite. And Sir Tomb will stomp forward towards these two zombies. How close are they to the edge of the ship?
Right along the railing. This is a small craft. This is a one steering position kind of pilot craft.
All right. He'll call out, "Assassins, get those men out of your mouth." And he's going to swing at the one that's closest to him. And his goal is let's see if he hits. He's going to swing.
Well, wait, what's your goal? Are you trying to knock him over the side?
So if he hits with Thunderous Smite, it does push them, but his goal is to hit the first one into the second one and maybe send one or both of them over the side.
I tell you what, before you roll, I'll let you know this. The higher your potential hit, we'll kind of treat it almost like a cleave. We'll see if we can continue traveling in the direction that this attack, how mighty it is. We'll see.
All right. A 21.
It's pretty mighty. It's pretty mighty. Okay, so go ahead and roll me. You got damage associated with this as well, correct?
I do, yeah. So 12 damage. And if it matters, the type looks like 9 of it is thunder damage.
Okay. So with 12 damage dealt to the first one, let's see exactly how we can do this. I want you to roll me an athletics. Now, this is what this is this is the prototypical baseball tennis player calling a shot. This is the shot into right field, left field, center field to bring in a run, not necessarily to hit a home run. You're purposely using force to direct the attack. So roll me an athletics, and one's definitely going over. With a good athletics, we'll see if two go over. One goes over.
Okay.
But what we'll do is we'll call it the cue ball effect. The one that you hit for 12 damage hits another. The second one falls over. The one that's undamaged falls over and splashes in the water. The one is standing in front of you with a blistering, thunderous smite upon its concave chest. But it is still standing.
Okay. Yeah, he'll take a step back and ready his glaive again as the flies start to disperse away from the haft of the weapon. And he'll point over the edge of the deck. He'll say, "Go that way." And he'll wait.
Roll me a persuasion check.
Can it be intimidate?
Sure.
22.
It has no effect on the creature that is brainless.
Of course not.
Okay, but it's, I mean, there even a couple of the corpses seem to shake a bit, but yeah, no effect on the actual undead creature. If that is all, we are going to go from the position on the pilot craft up 40 feet into the air in a mast that is now waving wildly after the crash, but still, De Niro, you are perched atop. What do you do, Billy?
He takes a second and lets the environment sink in and realizes that there are people aboard this ship that are eating other people, and it's taken a second to sink in. Oh my God. And so of the people he can see, Sertum is on the other boat. Who else is in immediate distance to the mast?
Sir Toombs is on the other boat. We have Eddie in the dinghy. Tinder is nowhere to be seen, but you would, and I'll give this to you for free since you have a eagle eye view. Cyrano is squaring off against, well, just holding a position on the craft, trying to save sailors. It is a noble effort, but one that seems to be dire.
All right, I'm going to interact and pull out my short bow and pull it back and sling an arrow.
To help Cyrano?
Yes, correct.
Sure. Give me a fire. Nice. Nice. Roll that damage.
All right, come on. There we go. Sorry, the first one, I didn't mean to click it 40 times. 6 piercing, and if it's a sneak attack, 8. I just had that clicked off on accident.
Yep, absolutely. It's a sneak attack. So then what is your grand total? 10 or?
It's a total of 8. Short bow's 1d6.
Okay.
Wait.
Okay.
Wait. Yeah. No. Sorry. That's 8. That's 8 because dex bonus.
Okay. So 10 total then hits that. Same creature that Cyrano hit both times. Cyrano, you would see an arrow sink into the back of the skull. A death blow to anybody that drew breath, but this creature in front of you seems not to mind. Ear kind of moves a little bit forward as the point of the arrow cracks skull and skips over. Other than that, though, the creature looks at you. De Niro, what would you like to do? Your attack is fired. You have a bonus action and movement, and you are on the mast.
I'd like to use my bonus action to hide, to like reduce threat. Like position myself crouched down behind the wood on top of the crow's nest.
Absolutely. Go ahead and roll me a stealth, and I will let you know that from this vantage point, you would have 3/4 cover anyway because of the sails that have been kind of rolled up and things like that, and you're a small creature, so. but you disappear into the new midsummer night above Baldur's Gate sky, as you move back and forth. And with that, we go to the zombies. Sir Toombs, as you are looking at one of these creatures, it does not jump over the side and follow its pitched friend. It instead charges towards you and attempts to overwhelm you. I need you to make a strength saving throw, my friend, as this creature goes full linebacker. Okay, the creature hits you, and as it hits you, it does the perfect textbook lift as it grabs the back of Sir Toombs' thighs and knees and pulls. And Sir Toombs, you find yourself prone on your back as this creature comes down on top of you. And though it can do nothing else this round, from this position beneath it, as it's biting down at you, your eyes kind of, with a gift of the periphery, the two sacks of meat that were previously dinner plates begin to move. Let's go over to Cat Cyrano. The one in front of you attempts to grab you and drag you to the deck as well. Please roll me a strength saving throw. And with a natural 20, good things always happen. You are able to not only best this creature that's trying to take you to the ground, but we are going to give you the ability to redirect it 10 feet. You can pitch it over the side. Unfortunately, the side would probably end up dropping it into the dinghy with Eddie, but it would be away from you and away from the sailors. Or you can just knock it back by 10. What would you like to do?
Knock it back by 10 and hopefully into a solid object like a mast or something.
I like the way you think, and I am going to go ahead and allow that to happen because that sounds awesome. So depending upon damage, 5. Explain to me exactly what Cyrano does.
As this thing reaches for him, he looks and goes, no. Bring me giants, and punts with his foot the creature thing, and it goes sliding right across the deck. It's nice and slippery from blood and water and gore, and its back just crunches as it bends around the mast in a way that backs aren't meant to bend.
And as it hits, you hear the wet crack of vertebrae. And as it skids with the damage that you've done, the damage that De Niro has done, it's leaving pieces of itself behind in a macabre slip and slide as it goes, and it hits the main mast with a tremendous amount of force. And as it hits there and its back cracks against it, its top half still moving, its lower extremities seem to be still. It's a moment before you realize the main mast begins to move oddly as it's not rolling with the ship anymore. It's rolling against the sway and the ebb as the last gasp of the propulsion of the Countess's rose gives up the ghost. There is a crack and the mast begins to move. But that is all for now as we go to Eddie in the dinghy. Eddie in the dinghy! What are you going to do, Pope?
Do I hear that wet crack? That icky thump?
You hear the icky thump, and you hear the much meatier crack of what sounds like, well, you pulled a mountain man before. This would be if the mountain man was yelling timber.
Now with his patrons being invoked, his voice changes. Great. This is just great. Great. In the darkness there is light. Cast produce flame. We're taking the expressway out! And hurling a bolt of flame to hit the other rope holding the dinghy together.
I love it. I couldn't love it anymore. Roll that attack roll.
I would like to use advantage beforehand.
Okay, that takes you down to 15, but a good use of advantage.
Come on, roll 20. I know we haven't always been friends.
You were wrong for long, but you're right tonight, my friend, as the produce flame does in fact sever, burning and creating the proper effect as the rope snaps, and you begin to, your rope cranks on its own as you hit the water with a lot of force. It's not as far down as you thought it would be. You're in the water now, my friend, oars and all.
Just with the impact, just sort of a slight jolt in breath, and just looking up. Please hurry!
And with that yell, I would like Charlie to roll me a perception check.
Okie dokie. This is plus. I was just hardly looking at my spells and having a minor freak out. Don't mind me. My perception is +1. I'm real perceptive. Alright. Oh, that's what? Okay. 3.
Yeah, there's a lot of water. There's water, and it's getting, you're not sure, but it seems to be getting higher. Maybe not.
Water on the
Your crab is like, what are you doing? So let's go, Charlie. You did not hear anything. As we go now to you in the hammock, the water is now 5, 6, 7 inches as it's getting dangerously close to dampening the lay or the catch of the hammock as it's rising to meet you. It seems to be unconcerned that this is your hiding spot.
Has anyone noticed the tide is getting high? No? Hello? And as she's not getting any answers, and she's panicking, and she's in this hammock, she is gonna cast Shatter just right at the ceiling above her, because she wants to get up and out. Up and out. This is her plan. Up and out.
Love it. Let's cast that spell. Roll me some damage, because you're gonna hit. I mean...
Okay, so it's 3d8 thunder damage. / roll 3d8. 9.
Okay, so as this hits, describe for me what it is when the shatter spell is evoked, and then I will describe to you what happens on the woods above, or the wood of the boards above where your shatter spell hits.
So there's this panicked clapping. Just, oh no, this is not good. And she like pushes all of her anxiety at the ceiling, and it's that vibrating anxiety that's just like shaking her inner being, and it's pushed upwards, and there's this loud panicked cry which rings out, but it's so loud and so projected it comes almost like thunder, and the whole place quakes and the wood shakes and it just rips into it.
Fantastic. So as your clapping starts off as the anxiety, with each clap beyond the 4th, 5th, it gets louder and louder and louder. And finally, as the anxiety that you described leaps from your connecting hands, it hits the boards. Cyrano, you would see an explosion of planks. And at this point, the creature that was still moving from the waist up slips beneath the boards, and the already compromised mast begins to move as a hole has opened up. Charlie, what would you like to do? These boards have gone up and away from you. You are now at the bottom, very Kal-El-like, at the bottom of this hole that you've created, still in your hammock, I might add. What would you like to do?
I think she would begin attempting to climb up and out. I know I only have a bonus action on my movement left, but that is what she'd like to do. Just trying to get out of this hole now. Yep, we're going out.
Okay, since you're already on the hammock, why don't you make an acrobatics or athletics check? And since you have your movement left, I'll give you half of it to try to at least get to the top deck.
Okay, I'm gonna go acrobatics. So she's gonna nimbly try and remember her gymnastics lessons and balance and kind of spring up and out. That's what she's gonna try and do. Because
Right.
she is a nerd and she has no strength. In fact, she has less than no strength. She has -1 strength.
She's an amoeba. 18! So describe for me how you vault out of this. Again, if I'm using movie references, this is Luke jumping out of the carbonite pit as Vader, all too easy. How do you do it?
While we were in Chult, there was this wonderful city, and they had lots and lots of washing lines up, and I would like to practice my tightrope walking, and so I climb up and I position myself, and I think I am the mantis, because I read about them once in a book, and they are very agile little things. And so, poof, like a little flea. Whew. Out is good. Fresh air. Ooh, what is that? That does not smell good.
So as the mantis, even with the claws of the crab that is riding you up and out of this incredible vault, we're going to say that you land on the deck beside Cyrano, as the two of you are at least positionally reunited. And with that being done, we are going to go to Cyrano. Kat, what does Cyrano do at this moment? Ta-da! There's your friend.
Oh, hello, Tinder. Glad you could join us. Reaches down, takes her by the hand with a very gentlemanly flourish, helps her to her feet, and then tucking her hand into his elbow, begins to escort her to the dinghy.
Cyrano, who let the water on the ship?
I believe it is the people that are rotting.
Oh. Oh, that is what that smell is. Oh, it is not good.
No,
Where is everyone else?
I don't know. Eddie is in the little boat. I think De Niro went up, and Tomb leaped.
Leapt. The word is leapt.
No, he leaped over the side of the ship.
Yes, he leapt.
And
No, it was right.
as the tenses battle here on the boards, this is a perfect time for a grammar war. As you all look around, I'm going to say that Cyrano, if you use your action and your bonus, you can scoop up Tinder and take off to the side. And if you roll me in acrobatics or athletics, I will allow you very low DC, since you're only dropping about 8 feet into the boat that is currently occupied by Eddie.
If Tinder is willing and allows him to pick her up, then he will do so.
Oh yeah, Tinder loves a good sweep. She's read about many of them in romance novels.
Well, the courtly bow, the hat goes back on, the feather, just so. And then he sweeps her off her feet. And you said athletics or acrobatics?
Please. And with the flourish that only somebody that could pull off a white feather hat could do, Cyrano drops Tinder into the boat. Eddie, Tinder, Cyrano, you are all reunited as we go over to Sir Toombs. Sir Toombs, you have a creature on top of you. You have two that seem to be reanimating about 15 feet away. What would you like to do, my friend?
So the ones that are reanimating, I mean, did they still have skeletons, or are these just, meat sacks that are growing and rising?
No. By meat sacks, I meant that they were previously animated creatures that had been torn apart. So they still have what's left of their muscles. They seem to have a skeletal structure in place. They have at least one eye among them.
Okay. And basically, so I rolled a 22 on my intimidation check. Do you think that's enough? There's enough evidence for Sir Tomb to think that they're immune to being frightened?
Yes. I will allow it.
Okay. There goes two of my possibilities. All right. Is there anything else on the deck of this ship? Like a lifeboat or anything like that?
On this craft, no. There doesn't appear to be any type of dinghy or excursion craft of any kind.
Okay. Sir Tomb will attempt to, this thing's like trying to get on top of him. He's prone. Stand up, and as he does, try to grab this thing by the back of its skull. So like pushing his gauntleted fingers into this thing's skull so he can grapple it and pull back its head.
Sure. So if you're attempting a grapple, let's roll an athletics check.
Okay. I'm going to use honor to try to re-roll this with advantage, right? Or I just re-roll it once?
Just roll it once. The second roll, the first one we will take. You are down to 10 honor, my friend.
All right. Oh, no.
Still, it is advantage, so it's not a nat 1. We'll default back to the 12, so terrible shit doesn't happen. But what we will do, though, is as you stand up and you do, in fact, sink your fingers, your gauntleted hand into the back of this thing's head, it gives like wet cardboard. You are first knuckle deep into its skull. It does not appear concerned with your attack. You do not have it restrained in any way. It's not grappled. You just, for narrative effect, have a hold of the back of its head. What would you like to do now, my friend, with a bonus action or movement?
So at this point, knowing that the ship's going down and having a better understanding of who these assassins are, if not who sent them, Sir Tomb is going to kind of push back with his glaive, and he'll call out back to his ship. Now he sees that people are just being eaten. It's total chaos over there. He hasn't looked back until now. Help, assassins. And then he'll take off and start running he's going to try to run and jump back onto his own ship so he can get to the dinghy that he knows is somewhere.
Okay, as you begin to run away from this creature, I need you to make a strength saving throw as its arm sweeps at your armored legs.
Is this versus grapple, basically?
This is just a strength saving throw.
An 11.
You feel your legs go out. This time, instead of pitching you back like a tackle, it pitches you forward like a baseball player sliding into third. And Toombs is able to carry a bit of his momentum into the jumbled timbers that were the pilot craft and the Contessa's Rose previously, but are now just an amalgamation of the two as you kind of crash alone. When you look back, you'll see that the meat sacks have begun to pull themselves up, as does the one that you grabbed onto the back of the head, the bowling ball one that has a couple of your finger holes in it. Bowling ball and the meat sacks are now staring and looking at you. You're not prone. You're just like on one knee.
He just sort of grumbles.
With that yell, I'm going to ask Billy to make a perception check with De Niro. You hear Toombs yell for help.
That dumb idiot can't do anything right. So I'm going to turn over. I'm going to take one of the beads that I had at my waist, throw it in the direction of the monstrosities that are near Tomb. Take an arrow out, load it in the bow. Show me your guts, and then launch an arrow at the one closest to Tomb.
Okay, so bowling ball is the target of this attack. Go ahead and roll me an attack roll.
I'm gonna use 5 of the units of honor for this attack.
Nice. Okay, so with a 23 you hit, roll me some damage. So with 8 total damage that hits this creature that was already delivered 12 by the smite shot earlier, it staggers back in the same spot where the smite was delivered. An arrow quivers to a stop at the rotting chest plate of the creature, but it does not fall as it continues, staggers back for a second, and begins to move towards Tombs. De Niro, this is the question that I will ask you. You believe that with the swaying of the craft, you would be able to get down to Tombs if you wanted to. However, if you held with the sway a little bit, you could ride the mast to the other side and drop down near or in the dinghy. This is a moment where I will allow you to do either, or something of your own design.
So with calculating the swaying of the raft, I'm going to jump down, try to aim towards Tomb's side, or close to Tomb.
Since you are by yourself and engaging in an action to save a fellow PC, I would like you to take 15 honor points as you leap down. Roll me an acrobatics check as we see just how well you land and help Tombs.
All right, well, I'm definitely going to spend 5 honor units for advantage.
Describe to me, my friend, whatever the fuck you want, because that's a natural 20.
So with the swaying of the mast, I calculate the perfect moment when the mast is going over, and I leap with a short bow in hand, arms in the air, do a front flip to kind of absorb some of my force, and on the way down, before landing right next to his side, bring down 2 middle fingers and shoot all of the zombies with the middle fingers, and then land in a heroic pose. I'll be damned if I'm not gonna get my celebration today.
And with your fuck fingers extinguished as every bullet in them is fired, you land, as you stated, beside Don's Sir Tombs. And with that, it is the zombie's turn. I need, as the attack is made, with 10 feet of movement, Bowling Ball runs and is going to attack and try to tackle Sir Tombs. Sir Tombs, I need you to make a strength saving throw. You're able to blast back one of the creatures. The meat sack runs and attempts to tackle our good friend, the goblin. De Niro, I need you to make a strength saving throw.
This is going to work out real well. Oh, it will work out well.
Let's all wait. We got it. There it is. With that hit, you are taken to the ground. Because there is another zombie within 10 feet of this one, I need you to immediately make a dexterity saving throw as it attempts to bite you.
All right, well, definitely use advantage. Oh, go ahead.
Greg, does this have to run past Sir Tomb to get to him?
Narratively as described, De Niro landed beside you.
Okay.
So he's just charging into your vicinity, but not out of it. So now, if you have Sentinel or something, I don't know if you have that.
Not at level 3.
I don't. I didn't know if you were a variant human beneath all that shit and worms. So, okay. So, honor points are a good thing to spend now, as this is attempting to bite you.
Yep. So I'm spending a 5 down to 20 for the advantage on his dex save.
As the bite goes just beside your ear, it takes a bit of it. Somehow it gets a bead in its neck or bead in its mouth as it chews a bit on one of your beads that were meant to be part of a celebration that did not include zombies of its kind.
He immediately, once that bite comes off, he realizes the beads go, and then he starts panicking. He's, I was gonna use those!
And as it's snapping at you, the last meat sack runs in and attempts to tackle Tombs. Another strength saving throw, my friend. As the dog pile has begun.
I'm going to spend 5 honor points to have advantage on the strength saving throw.
Okay, you're down to 5 by my account.
Yep. 18.
You're able to keep this thing off of you as it does not drag you to the ground. You're able to push it off. The two of you are now engaged as we leave this scene of dire motion and go to the other side of the ocean. Pope, you, Charlie, and Kat are in the dinghy. No immediate threats as far as enemies to attack. However, I'd like everybody in the dinghy to roll me a perception check. Well, you guys are fine. The boat seems sturdy. It's a nice night. The wind's pleasant enough. What would you all like to do? I'll let you all act as one, since you have the next 3 initiative moves, and just decide amongst yourselves, friends.
I have a great deal of anxiety about Sir Doom. He doesn't like the water either, and he wears such heavy armor.
Yes, I was going to go up.
I can go up.
Well, I just
Before that,
yes.
This feels like the fly trap situation. So
fly
arson
trap.
first. Arson first. If there's screams for help, we respond. If there's no screams for help, we run.
No.
No.
That would be cowardly, my friend, and it is better to die. Well, how is it? What can be better than to die in vain? And Cyrano will begin climbing up.
And Tinder's nose twitches, and she misty steps up back onto the boat.
But my arson.
I can do arson from up here.
Okay.
Hands.
Since we're all acting as one, and we now currently have Tinder and Cyrano back on the deck of the Contessa's Rose, a deck that is quickly going to lose its battle with the ocean, I will allow you, with your movement, especially with the Misty Step in play, that the deck in front of you is nothing more than this is a smorgasbord at the end of the night. It's just shells, husks, and the things that no one wants to cook. And however, you can see on the boat across from you, the one that impacted the Contessa's Rose, you can see Tombs standing there, and you can see with a struggle De Niro beneath one of these creatures. I will allow you, if you want to try to make it over to them, to do so with your movement, and then I'll have an acrobatics or athletics to actually clear the debris.
Oh, Cyrano's definitely on his way over.
Okay,
Me
since
too.
you're going together, each of you take an additional 5 honor points on your way over. And
I would like to instantly spend those. Thank you.
Yes.
okay. Acrobatics to get over, so we're gonna each use 5 to do that.
Yeah. Same for Cyrano.
Perfect. Okay, the
13 for
DC,
me.
the DC was 10, so you're able to clear the debris and land on the deck. De Niro, Toombs, you would see the arrival of 2 of your compatriots as Tinder and Cyrano appear before you. However, that is the end of your movement, end of your actions, end of everything to get where you needed to be. But let's go back to the now single piloted dinghy. Eddie?
Alone again. By the court's graces, I command the winds to bring me that which will make me home again. Unseen servant. Hello, you. You get that ore. I get this ore.
Very well.
And
talk.
just start rowing slightly away from the sinking ship as it doesn't get pulled under by the vacuum. So there still will be a dinghy, hopefully.
Okay, so are you retreating from the scene, or you're just backing off a bit?
I am backing off a bit just to make sure that when this thing fully goes under, because that causes a pull, it's not going to pull the dinghy.
Got you. As described to me by my grandfather, who was a sailor, it's like being on a table with a tablecloth. Someone cuts a hole in the table and pulls the tablecloth down. If you've got a plate on there, it's going through the hole. But I'll let you roll another perception check for me, as your eyes have a better view of the surrounding area.
No.
No, you don't see the other tug hit one of the dwarven tankers and cause its fire stores to explode, taking the second dwarven tanker with it. So I'd like you to roll a dexterity saving throw as the fire begins to lick in a green wave from both of the dwarven tankers across the water, spraying in a wonderful... I mean, you could hang 10 if you wanted to on this, but a dex save would be needed at this point.
I'm going to use 5 of that honor
Sure.
for advantage before the roll. Yeah.
And with a nat 20, I will give you this. The dinghy ain't gonna make it, but you certainly can. You and Hugh, I might add.
Okay. Well, Hugh and I, in that case, are going to start as Eddie's from Baldur's Gate, one of the many who did not grow up with parents and on the streets of Baldur's Gate, is going to start swimming as best as his little legs can to try and, because he knows more stuff's going to go down and that's going to pull him under. And he also knows these ships are going to sink. So he's just going to try and stay close by to try and lend a hand to his friends, but be far enough away that his small frame doesn't just become another dead body in the water.
Fantastic. So as you hit in a scene reminiscent of the movie classic The Rock, you playing the role of Nicolas Cage and Hugh playing the role of Sean Connery, you are swimming under the water as the green flame arrives above you just over the surface. Let's cut back to everyone else as Charlie and Kat, you've had your moves done. You are staring at 2, a meat sack and bowling ball, De Niro is down beneath one of the meat sacks. Cyrano and Tinder have arrived, but this is Sir Toombs' moment. What does Sir Toombs do?
He looks down to De Niro on the ground and speaks from behind his iron mask. Why wasn't I invited to this party? You said celebration. You just said...
We were all on the boat.
Holding zombies back at the same time.
We were all invited to the party. That's the point.
There's a
Idiot off me.
There's a single worm that has started to fall out of the corner of his eye hole in his iron mask, but once De Niro says they were all invited, the worm crawls back into the mask. Says, "Oh, I must have misunderstood." And he's gonna, ignoring the two zombies that he's kind of holding at bay. Okay, so again, piles of worms fall to the ground. They explode. Flies swarm up around the glaive and form the shape of a gigantic, oversized hammer. And he's about to put this meat sack off of De Niro. And again, I'm going to try to knock him into another. Maybe let's go for the other meat sack because bowling ball's at least taken some damage.
Sure. Let's do this.
So this is So this is first an attack, and then I have to make an athletics if it hits.
Yep. And the higher the attack, the greater the likelihood, less DC for the athletics, to have a twofer.
Okay, but I have advantage on this, right? Because it's prone?
Technically, no. It's fighting over top of... Yeah. It's not by its own move. It's on the ground. It's not restrained or anything.
But if I get if I get to behind it, do I have flanking? No.
We don't have advantage here for flanking.
It's a hit, I think.
You hit! There we go. It's a moot point. Okay, so you did so. You hit, and now an athletics roll to see if you can get 2 meat sacks for the price of 1.
I'll spend my last 5 honor points to try to make this happen so that I have advantage on this.
Sounds good.
$16.
So with a 16, as you hit first the 1 meat sack off of De Niro in mid-argument or mid-reconciliation for said argument, you're able to hit meat sack 1 into meat sack 2, but instead of a croquet or a billiards effect, this is more of the aforementioned football rugby effect, where a pile of these two hit the low railing and fall the 4 or 5 feet into the water, splashing with the white froth. Do you have anything else you'd like to do, Sir Toombs?
He holds down a gauntleted hand for De Niro and offers it to him.
De Niro takes it.
I just like to be invited to things. That's all. That's all I'm saying. It's nice to be invited. And you would feel that there are a lot of worms in the palm of his gauntlet, De Niro. Now they're on your hand.
It's more than would normally be there when you grab a gauntleted hand. This is an excessive amount of worms is what Don's
This is like most people get sweaty palms. He gets really wormy gauntlets. That's his.
If somebody tells me something, I'm gonna assume from this point forward they're telling you the same thing. Is that something that we can agree on?
You know, that is not how it works.
He's a special case, so I need him to understand where I'm coming from in this situation.
I understand nothing about what you're saying right now.
I was
As this
going to say
argument proceeds, As this argument proceeds, there is a zombie still in your midst. Bowling Ball is literally right there, listening to this argument over invites and RSVPs that may or may not have been given or understood. We do with that greater than 6-second conversation between the party. Let's go to Billy. Billy, it is now your turn with De Niro. There is the bowling ball with the holes in the back of his head zombie still staring there, seemingly ready to spring again. What would you like to do?
I'm gonna look over at him.
I was having a delightful argument with my friend here. It'd be real nice if you could shut up and get off this goddamn boat.
And so I'm going to use my bonus action to disengage, and then my attack action to fire short bow at it.
Let's do it.
13.
The bow shot goes wild as it takes a bit of Bowling Ball's ear. In fact, it takes the entire right ear off, which would probably enable include or promote the appearance of the bowling ball. So the right ear is gone, but any damage to the blow, at least for a creature of this nature, isn't assumed. Bonus action used, movement?
He's going to look over at Sir Toom and is like,
Well, I tried. Now it's your turn.
and he's going to crowd the same space as Sir Toom and kind of hide behind his thigh.
So with the mighty thigh of Toom between you and the undead creature, it is now its turn as it charges again and attempts to bring Toom to the ground. It does not seem put off by the wormy nature of his nervousness. Roll me a strength saving throw, Sir Tooms. Sir Tooms, you are taken low, but as there aren't any other zombies around anymore for this creature to be able to take an immediate bite attack, you are simply dropped prone onto your back as it climbs on top of you. Let's go back up to the top as, Pope, what's your Constitution modifier?
That's a +1.
Okay, so you've got roughly a minute to be able to hang out underwater, unless you've got something magical that you can break out. It's a terrible question to ask. So, how you doing? So, underneath the water, as you're looking up, you can see the green flame illuminating the surface. You can actually feel the heat being able and transferring through the liquid and beginning to, almost boil the water around you, at least the closer it gets. You're unsure of your direction. You were swimming towards Baldur's Gate. Do you want to continue that motion? Above you, only green.
We're going with the direction I thought I was going. And we're going to stay underwater, but keep looking up, perilously looking up, and just keep swimming, motioning you to keep following me. And that's pretty much that.
Okay, so Hugh is definitely following you. I tell you what, roll me a... I'll take perception or nature here.
They're both terrible options, but I'm going to go with nature because perception has not been kind. So here goes nothing. Literally.
So as the explosion hits and you're tossed a bit, Hugh is swimming in this direction. You were swimming in that direction. You continue to breaststroke underwater in that direction. You believe you're going where you need to be. Anything else you want to do beneath the waves?
know what? Yeah. Yeah, we're going to do one last trick. Because there is so much fire.
Everybody that's watching, if you are unfortunate to have not seen Pope before, but are fortunate to be catching him now, when Pope says one last trick, buckle the fuck up. Pope?
It's time for one of them their throttle moments. I'm going to try and use a spell not as intended.
I love it.
So I've got one last second level slot. So we're going to make a flotation device with Armor of Agathis, because ice floats.
Okay.
So what I would like to do is cast Armor of Agathis, and pretty much have it form, instead of a small sheet, of a blade of health, sort of like a as usual with Eddie, sort of emulating Toombs's magnificent armor, but in a small sheet of ice. This is just like one of those cork life vests that he saw as a kid being used by the porters moving stuff off the boats, and just have that form around his chest and a little bit over his head, considering there's still all that flame, and have this as a icy flotation device that, should he get exhausted, will at least keep him towards the top of the water.
Okay. Absolutely. And what we'll say too is, because I absolutely love spells being used for their unintended purposes, you can basically have it kind of readied in that it's beginning to form, but the actual flotation effect of the ice, it won't drag you to the surface unwillingly. So you can have it kind of formed in your mind, just ready to kind of hit the final moment and be able to bring it into life.
Okay.
Does it have a verbal component, I might ask real quick?
Yes. So he's going to have to breach in order for this to work.
Okay, so what we'll say is you get everything ready, and so much like the sounding of a great whale or a dolphin, you must hit and break through into the air of Baldur's Gate to be able to create and finish the spell. Nice. Charlie, you're up, as you see one creature has taken Tombs down to the ground. I will let you know this, similar to your experience with the hammock, there is now about an inch or two of water on the deck of this ship. In fact, this isn't really a deck. It's not a deck anymore.
I'm going to take a really deep breath. I do not like soggy feet. But I see that Sir Tom is in trouble, and he is not consenting to this wrestling. So I am going to use Reach to the Blaze, and I'm going to summon my Burning Hands, and I'm going to use my Evocation Wizard ability to sculpt this spell so that it doesn't touch my good wormy friend, nor warm his armor. And so this is Burning Hands, and it's a Dex saving throw, and it's a 12 to beat for Zomble.
Fantastic. And because it is currently engaged, it does this at disadvantage. So, 7?
That is a fail. You take 15 points of fiery damage.
So, explain what Sir Tomb sees, as 1 minute he's looking into the face of Bowling Ball, and the next, he's not.
So, Sir Tom, you hear Tinder losing her mind about soggy feet, and then the consensual thing. And then there's this warm breeze that just whistles past you as a giant burning fist just punches the zombie off of you. Now, what were we saying, De Niro? We were talking about something. Also, Greg, just so you know, anything flammable within 15 feet is also going to go. But
Yeah,
since everything is wet, I'm sure it's fine.
It is, except the actual water's burning too. And as you all now have the deck beneath the waves of the pilot craft, it's a second or two before the deck of the actual Contessa's Rose goes beneath the water, and you see that the entire edge of out into the ocean and out into the Sea of Swords is covered in this green flame, as waves of this great fire gust and gas up into the air, creating this hellish fence, if you will. But you all are sinking. You are out of combat. Sir Toombs, you are wearing armor. What would you all like to do?
De Niro wants to look over at Sir Tomb.
Hey, buddy, you should probably take that off.
And gestures towards his armor.
That's exactly what an assassin would say. But
I am getting very wet.
yes. Where's the boat? You know, the small boat.
Eddie took it. And she points in the direction.
It's just like green fire everywhere, right?
Everything from about the other side of the Contessa's Rose, you can feel the heat from where you all are, towards the exterior of the ocean, or the exterior, the entrance and exit of the harbor itself, is just burning with this green licking flame.
So we would have to go through the flame or under the flame to get to the harbor from where we are?
You're in the harbor. To get to the open sea, you'd have to go under the flame.
Oh, okay, I understand. And we're about like 150 feet or yards to the harbor?
150 yards, yep.
As the boat's starting to sink, and I imagine bodies are sliding down into the water, just like soft thuds. Sir Tomb stands up. He does not take off his armor, and instead he trudges and is like stepping up in the opposite direction towards where that broken mast is. Is the mast completely broken yet?
The mast has broken in 3 places. It's splintered long ways with a 45, 50-foot shaft that is now floating in the water, but it's being dragged down by the ropes that are tying the sails to the connecting places along the boat. However, there is a medium length of the mast, about 10 feet, that has splintered off, and then, of course, the base, which is dipping beneath the water. So if you're looking for something to hold on to...
Yeah, he's looking for the biggest part of the mast that looks like it's the floatiest part of the mast. If that is tied with rope, he would say, he'd start cutting the rope with his glaive. But if it's not tied with rope, he would just grab it and kind of try to like lift it up and like, and kind of go to the edge of the ship as it's sinking and say, "We can doggy paddle to shore on this," and try to hop over.
Cyrano is, as soon as he recognizes this, he's right there helping Sir Tomb. The dagger, you may find this more effective, sir. And he begins sawing at the rope with the dagger.
Yes, you're very smart.
Educated.
Now you say it.
Not smart, but educated.
It's been about a minute since you all have hatched this plan. So let's cut back beneath the surface of the water as Eddie, you're running out of air. And by running out, I mean you no longer have any. What would you like to do?
It's time to breach and pray.
Let's breach and pray.
So, swimming, the gem in his hands, going to breach the surface into this green fire, poke his little head up, soaked in water, and go, "Icy fuck, help!"
He says, "Icy fuck, help?"
Yes.
Okay. With those magical, poetic words of "icy fuck, help." You cast the Agathas around you. However, when you breach, you're about 10 feet into the green flame, having been turned around beneath the waves. You are going to take some damage before the ice actually takes effect, and you take 5 damage as it burns the side of your face a bit, but when it cuts in, you bob up into the water enough to drag your small frame actually above the flames for a second. I will allow you to make an athletics or an acrobatics check to clear those 10 feet and get into open water.
We're gonna try for acrobatics.
It's enough to get in. Oh, who's that for? My good friend Staffin has contributed for Praxis.
That looks like it is for Eddie.
Eddie, you have a
on the wind.
D12 of inspiration from Staffin via Prax the Bard from the Legion. So that D12 can assist you at any time that you would like to use it. I will let you know that you are able to make it out of this one with an additional 3 points of damage as you bob and blast free. Everybody else, as the 2 crafts are sinking, Sir Toombs and Cyrano are creating the doggy paddleboard. You see Eddie explode out of the water wearing something along his chest, and we'll say that within just a few 60 seconds you are all together on the sinking crafts. The zombies themselves are sinking beneath the waves, unable to swim.
So we're all on this like broken mast, just kind of draped over it, kicking our feet towards the shore.
Well, that's the thing. This is the Titanic scenario where could Rose and Jack have fit on the door? We'll never know, because they could have. Charlie's saying vehemently, Jack died for nothing other than Rose's comfort. So we're going to say that 2 of you can get onto the mast. However, I will allow 3 if it's Eddie, De Niro, and then a medium-sized creature. So decide amongst yourselves who will get the advantage of the mast.
Feather hanging limply now, wet with seawater. Cyrano would insist that Tinder take the spot.
I have a small idea, and I want to use Ray of Frost to make ice, which is a tiny bit drier than water.
You are able to make a pond scum film of ice that quickly cracks. This is very hot water. It's like at this point, it's like a hot tub at your proximity to the green flame.
That is the only kind of water I like. Hot water.
Well, good. You'll like it more because the green flame is riding the tide in towards Baldur's Gate. So it appears to be advancing on your position.
You know what? I'm going to get on. I'm sorry. Not sorry.
Must go faster. Must go faster.
I look at Sir Toom and say, a man does not fight merely to win. No, it is better to know that we are fighting in vain. You have bardic inspiration. It's only a D6, Sir Toom, for the next 10 minutes as we try to make our checks, which I'm sure are coming, to get this mast to shore as we hang on and doggy paddle pushing it in front of us.
So who all's on the mast? Are we all? Not everybody's on the mast, right?
We get 3 if the 2 small people and Tinder are on there.
So Cyrano and Tomb, being larger than everybody else, are back.
Cyrano and Tomb could get on the mast together, but then no one else could get on the mast.
Could we hold on to the mast with our hands and stay in the water and use our feet to kick and propel, push the mast?
I like how you're thinking about this, but it's not so much as the space that you're holding onto the mast, it's its buoyancy that's at play here. So,
The weight.
yeah, too many people holding on to this bad boy, it's going to take it below the surface and thus eliminate its usefulness.
So let me borrow a page from Pope's book and offer
God damn it! Fine!
Offer a spell that is to be used in a way that is not intended, and casting Featherfall to lighten Sertum, Cyrano, and Tinder, even though she's already on the mast, the three of us reducing the weight and allowing us to swim push.
Fantastic. What is the duration of that spell?
Just had it pulled up.
Also, Greg, I'll totally give you dishonor for Tinder being a selfish cow, because she is.
It is 1 minute.
Okay, so for 1 minute, with 150 yards it will take to paddle into shore, the load will be effectively lightened. However, it's going to take you longer than a minute. So what we'll do is we can absolutely use that if you want to expend that spell and get to a minute further or closer to the shore and then make this decision, or you can make the decision now. I won't force you to waste a spell and then a minute later be kind of SOL and back in the same pot.
So I think once Featherfall's cast, Sertum kind of steps back and he's like still on the sinking ship and he says, I am much too heavy to join you. My God will not let me die here. You will all make it to shore faster without me.
You are not too heavy, Sertum. Please enter the water. And waits for Sertum to go bobbing like a cork.
Okay.
Sertum, what else are there any other pieces or is there like a door nearby me?
Yeah, but there's already a girl named Rose on it. I'm sorry.
Charm person onto the tomb to charm him onto doing what Cyrano wants.
Okay. It's a Christmas throw, right?
What's your DC and what does Sir Toombs have to roll here?
13 wisdom saving throw. Which I think he's going to be able to do, but I don't care. No. But Sir Tom, the water is so nice.
I will find another way. Hurry. And I want to use my last thunder, taking a page from Pope's book. You know how like when you're in a
I don't like the book that Pope is writing here, everybody. I mean, a page from this book is fine. Let's hear what it is. This is where you make yourself into a speedboat, right? Is this what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah, when you're in a pool, right? And you push the waves and you kind of like create like a little bit of a like mini tidal wave that pushes, somebody along. I want to use Thunderous Smite with his gauntlets, and I want to try to push their boat and get it like moving, or their raft, and get them moving faster towards shore, so that if I can't make it, then in 1 minute, maybe they'll be able to make it in 1 minute.
Okay, so you're turning yourself into a wave pool. Okay. Sir Tombs, the wave pool. Paradise Tombs. Okay, so I will say this absolutely will increase their ability to get there. It'll double their ability to get there because of the nice start that they have, but we still have too many people for the mast. How's that working?
So Featherfall is not going to lighten it, or are you talking Featherfall is done?
Yeah, I'm saying no, Featherfall will absolutely work for a minute, but it's going to take you longer than a minute to get the 150 yards in there. With Sir Tombs helping you, it'll go off and you might have 50 yards left to swim, but you're still going to have 50 yards left to swim. Somebody's going to have to leave the mast at that point.
I do have 6 spell slots that I can use to keep casting Featherfall.
Well, if you want to spam it, then you guys can get everybody on there. I didn't know if you wanted to spam it or not.
It lasts a minute. So for each minute until we get close enough where we can at least stand up without drowning.
I tell you what, if that's the case, then we could have eliminated some of the conversation. I'll allow you to spam it 3 times, and you can get everybody there, including Tombs.
Done.
Yeah,
And
I think once he's slow to pick up on what you're putting down, like most times, and he's probably like floating and stripped off half of his armor before he realizes that he doesn't need to strip off his armor, and he straps it back on, and he'll swim to catch up.
Okay, so here's the question that I will ask you, and we will say that this is in between Featherfall applications. I would like all of my survivors to roll me perception checks as you look at the North Shore, the center of the port, and the South Shore. Thank God, Cyrano. Okay, again, thank God, Cyrano. As you look, Cyrano, in between your applications of Featherfall, you see towards the north a raging fire has engulfed most of the dockside area and buildings of Baldur's Gate. However, with your 18 perception, even from this distance, which is only at this point maybe 50 yards, you don't see any of these creatures. You just see the roar of this fully engaged and engulfing flame. Now, from the center shore, when you look, you do see the undead as they are rushing here and there. And now on open ground instead of open water, you see that they are as fast as you would be at a full sprint or a full rush. And when you look towards the south, you see darkness. You see almost an intense darkness, a magical darkness to the south. Where would you, since you're the only one that's noticed these 3 landing places, the north, the center, or the south?
It was much easier when it was just the lady or the tiger. Let me think. My dear companions, fire, undead, or what is surely magical darkness hiding who knows what?
Fire, 100% fire.
Magical darkness.
Are you crazy?
Yes, he is, but actually, Eddie.
Not actually. I'm sorry. I'll go with what the group says.
No,
That's a first.
Is the fire engulfing everything? And
Yes,
is
it would
same
appear
color?
that way, and we really don't have that much time to discuss it. However, I mean, we can either fight the undead, or we can take our chance in magical darkness, because really don't think that flame is a good option for any of us. Well, except maybe Tinder.
No. Yeah, it is a good option for me.
Well, yes.
But like, listen up. We know flame. We don't know this undead bullshit. We don't know the darkness. So we're working with what we have.
How do you
Nero is right,
propose,
though. The darkness could have undead in it.
how do you propose to survive the flame?
Maneuver around it. You don't walk into it. We
Well, that's
find a
just
way.
what I'm saying. The way to walk around it means to either go towards the undead or the magical darkness.
Maybe they will not see us in the dark.
I'm starting
Know
to
my home. Let's take the darkness.
Dark?
Know my
Dark.
home.
I will go with whatever the group says.
We need to go fishing someday, by the way. It just keeps crossing my mind. Darkness it is, and Cyrano just starts heading that way.
You know, I don't trust fish. They are very fishy.
Oh, they are, but they're delicious.
Okay, when you all die, I'm gonna laugh and laugh.
And throw a party that you will invite us all to come back to?
I'm betting we could find a tavern in that magical darkness.
There's plenty of them, but they're probably overrun.
Well, we know for sure they're either burning or overrun in the other two.
But at least we were invited.
True. Did we send the RSVP? Yes, we did send the RSVP.
Let's just get a land.
So the magical darkness.
That's right.
The magical darkness.
As Greg turned to what he knew this fucking group would pick, because I was even going to sell it as creepy magical darkness, but I thought I don't have to do that. They're going to pick it anyway. So let's go to the south as you all head towards the docks, and as you pull up onto the docks, there is flotsam and jetsam of the biological nature as you see pieces of people, animals, meat, awful, viscous. You pull up and it begins to coat you, much like an oil slick would. And as you paddle your mast with the final application of featherfall, by the time you all get to the guidelines and the rope ladders to pull yourself from water surface to the top of a dock, you are all now covered in blood. And this is from white feather to wormy armor and all across the board. You all look like the living dead, but you are living. The darkness awaits you up ahead, and at this range, it's not absolute, but it is very, very deep. What would you all like to do?
First, I am casting prestidigitation so vigorously and cleaning each and every one of us.
No, don't clean mine.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, I'm good.
Sir Stinky, you're good.
I'm good too. That creeps me out.
Just the feather, please. Feathers. We can get the feather in the hat. It's fine.
Head to toe, these silks are very expensive. Victoria's secret is she is pricey bitch.
You need to have a discussion with this Victoria.
I
Does-
tried.
Have you tried her closet?
You mean stealing?
We can have a discussion about nefarious deeds later. Right now, we need to get through this.
But at the end of this, Tinda, if you want silks, I can sell you one, buy one, get one full price.
Great.
I know how you work, De Niro.
Yes, Don.
So Sir Tomb takes out a little vial and he collects just like a bit of this blood into the vial and stoppers it and kind of puts it away. And then he wants to reach out through his god, who shall go unnamed, to use divine sense. So basically, he can detect good and evil, anything affected by the Hallows spell, and the location of any fiend, undead, or celestial nearby.
Okay, let's all cut to the scene in Aliens where the motion sensor is going apeshit. At this point, Hicks turns to Hudson, and Hudson says, 10 meters, man. And Hicks says, that's in the room. You're reading it wrong. I'm reading it right, man, because this shit is everywhere. Everything's lighting up. However, roll me a religion check.
This is where you find out that Tomb is the worst paladin. And this is not where you found that out. You already knew that.
Everyone's dumb skin. No one's ever good at religion.
For a second, there's a differentiation there with your divine sense. Something that could have definitely revealed more about the overarching story of Fall of Faerun, but it goes undetected by Tombs, who simply realizes that his god has provided him with information that enemies abound. Evil
He
abounds.
did have inspiration from Cyrano. Would that be
Oh,
an effect?
I do. I have bardic inspiration. I don't know if
The D6. I don't know that it will help any, but
No, I'll use it. Wait, but then I have to use it.
It's only good for 10 minutes altogether. So.
True. Yeah, you know what? I'm using it. If there's information I can unveil. A 12.
With a 12 DC, you realize that the divine sense that you are, the readings that you are receiving are not undead. You're not sure what they are.
But they're not undead.
It's not undead.
And there's no bodies around?
Here on the dock, you don't see anything other than the pieces that are in the harbor. But it is not undead.
Whatever these things are, or whatever is creating them, they are not your typical undead creatures. They are not scared of me. And they do not do what I say. Also, enemies abound, like everywhere right now. It is very unsafe here.
I've had recruits like that. If they're not undead, that means that they can be made dead?
I suppose if we try hard enough, but...
Well...
Okay, guys. Right now, we're nearby southern docks. There should be a little back path that we can get through that will lead us to a thoroughfare where they take most of the whatever imported food is to the warehouses. It's just wide enough for the carts and the animals, and we can just make a beeline for a good 6 blocks. I suggest we take it.
Yes, but if Baldur's Gate is burning, then there is nowhere that is safe.
We can make it to the forest, and then we can move around Baldur's Gate and see about any number of the different hunting lodges that are nearby.
A thought just occurred to me. All my books were on the boat!
Tinder?
There's something about that just really tickles her too.
We can buy you more books, my dear.
Tinder, there's a wonderful library in this place called Neverwinter. If we make it, you can have all the books.
All the books?
Yes, there's a massive scriptorum.
Wait! Does this mean we're not getting a parade?
Parade's been canceled.
This day sucks.
The reception city is a little kinky, I believe.
Oh, kinky. Okay, I can start the notebook. We're good.
Okay.
So through the darkness, into the forest, where
To
all
the
the
light.
fairy, to Candlekeep.
If we can make it that far. I'm just trying to get us to one of the hunting lodges that's on the edge of Baldur's Gate. Go in there, we can break in easily, and just light a fire, get warm, get dry, and maybe spend the night.
Very well. I like this idea. We should be going. Just know that we will most likely be attacked by evil creatures that are not undead.
We'd probably be attacked by less if we would have chose the fire.
Wait. Tombs.
Yes.
Not undead. Is this a red wizard thing?
I do not know.
Does your god specify not undead and also not re-dead?
Everybody roll a perception check for me.
My god is very mysterious.
Oh,
And
they
not to be-
always.
I am using my halfling ability and re-rolling that.
Absolutely, that's what it's there for.
Greg, can I also specify, like, while this conversation is happening, because she's twitchy, Tinder's gonna use her, I was gonna say burning hands, that's not what it's called, produce flame. So she's just got little flames sitting on her hands that she's just comforting herself with.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, you can juggle it. You can, one hand to the other, back and forth. Absolutely. So, Pope, with your halfling ability to re-roll your ones, and Sir Toombs, as you are all looking around with this inky, almost painted south end of Baldur's Gate, you are the first two to notice, kind of creeping on the wind, that pleasant breeze that you felt back on the Contessa's Rose, little motes of almost fluorescent green floating through the air, and they seem to be getting thicker.
Greg, have I read anything about little motes of green? I read.
You can roll me a nature check.
Ooh. Let me see. Do I have a nature? No. No, but I have a +3 because I am a smarty pants. No, I don't know nothing.
I mean, they're very pretty. They could be maybe like some fauna or flora, like seedlings. You're not sure. They're very pretty.
I wonder if this is a little message from my mother. She likes to send magical messages. Magical messages sometimes.
That's quite possible, but I think it's a message of another kind in that it's the same color as the fire, and perhaps we need to be moving.
And it's the same color as the jungles in Chult as well.
True, I hadn't thought of that. You're right.
I've been trying to
Variation to the green.
Is
Wait.
it coming closer to us?
Let's move, and while we're moving and talking. Okay? Now,
Walk and talk. Yes. Walk and talk.
For sure.
now, follow me. I'm going to lead us because I know this city. And
With your lead in place, I will allow you to roll anybody that's going. Are we guys going quickly or quietly or for speed?
I'm imagining because it's magical darkness, we're gonna have to do like one arm and the shoulder in front of us, right? And just be using all our senses so we don't stand, trip, etc. on things.
The closer that you've received to this, it doesn't look like there is a wall of darkness, which would indicate magical darkness. It's odd. It looks like a wall of dimness, if that makes any type of sense.
Like,
It looks like
swampy
it
slime.
limits visibility. It doesn't eliminate visibility.
I'm still going with that one hand on the shoulder of Satum and my flame in the other hand.
Okay.
Sir Toom is not quiet.
we're
That's the-
going for speed.
Nor
Yes.
am I.
He's trying to be fast.
Does dark vision help at all?
Dark vision will enable you to see when everybody else's vision is reduced to half, if not given a flame. Anything that produces a flame, its radius is reduced by half. Your normal vision is reduced by half, and dark vision is reduced by half. However, with dark vision, you don't need the flame to give you half vision, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, let me go in the front. So if I see anything, I'll shout out back at you.
Okay, so just keep my pace
What's your pace?
as fast as we can go.
That doesn't seem that fast.
Look who's talking.
And this is a goblin and a halfling, right?
Yes.
This is the 3/6 humanoid yelling at the 3/4 humanoid to
Walk
don't be so
fast.
damn slow, right?
I
By the
bet
way-
I'm the fastest one out of all us.
By the way, Pope, it was not lost on me the defeat in your voice when Charlie mentioned that she had her flame out and Don said that Toombs was not quiet and you said, we're going for speed. As if the decision, there was still a choice. I appreciated it, and I just wanted you to know that I marked it in my memory banks to laugh at and enjoy with you for many, many weeks to come. All right, so if you're all running up ahead, I would like perception checks from my 2-point half humanoids and the goblin and the halfling. Perception at disadvantage for me, please.
Going to spend 5 to just make it even.
And also, my intention is to be as stealthy as possible, even with the speed.
Okay, I'll allow you to roll stealth. You'll have to split away from the main group a bit, so you won't be within like arm's reach if you guys are all doing like the kindergarten walk. So you'll be leaving Tomb, Cyrano, and Tinder behind. And if you are going very far ahead, how far ahead do you want to go here? Like 30, 40, 50, 60 feet?
Say like 30 feet, like a turn's movement for me.
I'll give you 5 honor for going into a known place where there's enemies everywhere. All right, so perception checks. Let's see. Did you spend honor, Billy? You did not, right?
No, not for the perception, no.
Okay, so it's 6 and then 18 and 18. So, Pope, as you're going through here, you can still see, even though it's muted, that fluorescent green has become like a very dark, almost like an olive green, as it's still floating past you. It looks more like palm ash at this point, as it's just kind of draping you and kind of covering you for a moment. But much like snow, it's not something that stays and lingers. It evaporates, whether it is being absorbed or simply blowing away out of your vision. You're unsure, but it does not collect. It does not, get into your eyes or collect on your shoulders, but it is becoming more and more prevalent. And as you get closer, Billy, you see as you round the corner and get towards this back alley with its 6-block stretch that Eddie told you about. Just as you begin creeping down, you see a large figure appear, maybe 8, 9 feet tall. Even in this dim light, even in the negatives of your dark vision, the grays and the whites and the blacks, you can see the glow of green coming off this creature, and it sees you as it begins to step.
I didn't get the chance to roll that stealth that I intended to for the front.
Go ahead and roll it.
I'm
sorry, I looked up and saw the 5, and I was like, oh, okay.
And I wanted to. My intention to scout ahead was going to be fulfilled with the advantage of the honor, 5 honor points for the stealth roll.
Okay, go right ahead. Okay, so yeah, with the 26, as you are going through here, what you are gifted with instead is, as this creature begins to walk, this tall 8-foot creature, it begins to stride not towards you, but towards the position behind you, as if it has already identified the sounds of your friend's approach. It is coming. It is within earshot, if it can hear of you. Your friends are walking towards it. What do you do, De Niro?
So, one of the thieves' kit things at my waist, I loosen a knot gently, take up a medium-sized bag, and from behind, open the bag and spill 1,000 ball bearings at its feet.
As you pour the ball bearings out, the creature, large with a footprint, proverbially and figuratively, as it hits the ground in front of you, slips on the ball bearings, as its arms do not pinwheel as a human's or a living being's would. It just takes the movement and the gravity and it smashes down flat on its back. It slowly begins to rise. It's now maybe 10 feet in front of you as you are hidden in the shadows, and you see fissures begin to erupt along its pectorals and up its deltoids, up its neck, as it fingers and cracks like glass, and this glow becomes brighter and brighter and brighter. What do you do now, De Niro?
So, how long is this? How wide is this alley?
It's only big enough for a cart, as narratively explained by Pope. So I'll give it a generous 10 feet across.
Okay, so in the so it's more difficult to get to my group if I run away from the glowing fissuring monster. How much distance do I have in that direction?
Your movement is 25 feet. You would be heading down the 6-block thoroughfare. You are unaware of what lies ahead, but you would be able to move your full 25 feet as this creature is effectively prone and couldn't offer any opportunity attack for a mechanical explanation.
Okay, so then I will go into a direction away from the monster and away from my party, and take an action to hide and stealth and wait till I can visibly see somebody from my party.
Okay, so
operating in complete silence is the objective.
Absolutely. So let me make sure I get this. The creature's dropped. You're running beyond in the direction of where the creature appeared. You're going to hide when you get to the end of that flight. You are waiting for somebody from your party to appear. So it will be you, the creature that has fallen, and then your party whenever they appear.
Correct. And then the intent is to also have someone from my party recognize that there are 1,000 ball bearings on the ground.
Okay. So you want to make sure that they are aware of your trap. Roll me a perception check at disadvantage, Billy. And Mal, who is at 4, buddy, as I wait to see how this is going to play out.
You said perception at disadvantage?
Perception at disadvantage for me, please.
Would I be able to spend any to make it regular?
You absolutely can.
Any honor? Yeah. So I'll go down to 15 honor to make it a regular perception.
With a 20, as you get to your hiding place, and go ahead and roll me your... Oh, you already rolled your stealth? No, roll me another stealth as you hide when you get to the end of your run.
20 again. Dirty.
Perfect. So hidden, De Niro the Goblin, at home in this dimness, you are able to get exactly as far as you could, and with your perception check, even though your vision has been greatly reduced, using your other senses, you are able to feel and hear Eddie and the others as they approach up the area. However, between them and you is this rot father who has fallen on his back, who is now splitting open, and I would like everyone, with the exception of De Niro, to roll me a dexterity saving throw as it explodes.
I'd like to spend my 5 hero points to give myself advantage on this.
Sounds good. Anybody else?
Same for me, please.
Absolutely.
It's the Malkers.
No. Unless it's 10, and then maybe.
It's not 10. However, 22 is great. 24 is awesome. 8 ain't so good. So for 22 damage for those that failed, or 11 for those that succeeded, unless, of course, you're a rogue with evasion, which I don't think anybody is at 3rd level, fire explodes everywhere. And this isn't the fire of air and jet. This is the fire of jelly and consumption. As it hits you, the pieces of the Rot Father begin to burn, and continue to burn as they splash against those of you affected by this fire. It burns into your flesh. It creates more of these motes of green ash that float into the air. But now the fuel for this fire isn't some ambivalent source. It is your bodies, your gear, your life as it is consumed by the green flame.
Greg, I have 2 questions.
Ask the first one.
Question number 1. Does my fire resistance work with this fire?
It certainly does, yes.
Question number 2. Can I use absorb elements as a reaction to absorb the fire?
That sounds like a great idea to me, yeah.
Great, so if I use both of those, can I essentially take no damage? Because absorb elements basically halves the damage. And then if I guess I take a quarter, right? Because it'd be halved and then halved again. So it'd be a quarter damage.
Right, so 5. Take 5 damage and you'll be good to rock and roll.
Thank you.
So, yep, go ahead, Toombs.
I was just going to say, like, so this fire rocks us, and then there's, when it makes contact with us, these green motes begin to dance up. And Sir Toom just stands there. For a moment, it's like he's scorched by the fire, his armor's a little darkened, and then he reaches up and kind of tries to snatch one of the motes. He turns it over. Does it stick to his hand at all, or does it just kind of pass through?
It sticks for a moment. And you read Abyssal, do you not?
I do.
For a moment, you see the iconography of death in your palm. And then, much like a snowflake, it evaporates.
He grumbles, and then he lifts up his mask a little bit, not enough to reveal his face with one hand, and he shoves another hand, this one writhing with worms, up inside of his face. And then he pulls his hand out and the worms are gone, and he sets the mask back down over his face. And I would like to lay on hands myself if I'm able to heal.
You can lay your hands on you, yep.
I lay my hands on me.
Somewhere, John Bon Jovi is weeping with joy. Yes, cleric laughs. Pope laughs.
I was singing it in my head if it helps.
Okay, good.
What was that? What happened?
I believe it was rock music.
Oh.
Did not know it could do that. Eddie? Eddie, are you all right?
Oh.
Cyrano will head over to Eddie, and I take it Eddie is in a bad way.
Eddie's the worst you've ever seen him.
Cure wounds at 2nd level.
Cat with a Jovi double down.
Okay.
So 9.
As the healing goes forth, we need to go back up to De Niro, who has advanced his position a good 30 feet beyond where the rest of the party is. De Niro, you're the first to notice that the magic dimness seems to have, at least in this medium area, as far as you can see, has lifted to just reveal the darkness of normal early night. You can see the stretch of road out in front of you. However, without the need of a perception check, you see no fewer than 36 zombies, or what you consider to be the undead, walking from the direction of the south towards your position. They are shambling and seem to be aimless, but with the explosion, you see all of their eyes and heads turn as one towards the green glow.
And so the party's coming from this way, Rotfather here, me back here, aimless group in another direction, turned here.
Yep. They have not reached your position yet. So you could still presumably go north and avoid them. That's the direction that Eddie had told you to go. However, here is your decision that you must make, my friend. As you are sitting here, you could easily slip to the north. probably avoiding them, especially with how hidden you've been. However, you think that even if your friends made best possible speed, there's no way for them to do likewise. What does De Niro do?
De Niro, so if this alley has a corner, De Niro would use what's the vertical situation? What's climbing like?
Various buildings, you're looking at anything from 2 stories to 5 stories in the immediate area. This is close to the docks, so you're not looking at very large structures. This isn't like the Temple District or anything that's built for opulence. This is built to withstand weather. And you're looking at, 2 to 5 story structures here, interspersed, not uniform at all. And you're not in the warehouse district, so you're not looking at large buildings either. These are still of an almost residential nature, several structures to a block.
Okay, so in terms of style of apartments, are there balconies? Are there fire escapes? Are there...
This is not up to code. This is Baldur's Gate. However, there are wrought iron, what would pass for like hanging gardens out of several of these kind of second and third story buildings. This is just your glimpse as the dimness seems to pull back a bit.
All right, so I want to aim towards what seems to be the strongest wrought iron structure jutting out of the buildings. And I want to climb towards that. And then I want to take the length of rope that I have, tie it to the strong wrought iron structure, and toss it down. And then if there's enough time left, if they don't perceive me and start sprinting, make a very odd bird sound that is not native to Baldur's Gate, so that people would pick up on on something is amiss. Follow your trusted goblin friend.
That's a water deviant swallow. What's it doing here? Okay.
It's unladen. It's an unladen swallow.
Would you roll to? I know you have your second story work. So just to get up there and as quickly as possible, give me an athletics or acrobatics to make your climb.
Do athletic or acrobatics, I'm sorry, with spending 5, bringing me down to 10.
Go right ahead. Okay, so with 18, you are able to climb up and do just what you had. Your rope is now down at regular level. The group is moving towards the green glow, the kind of almost mushroom cloud effect of the Rot Father's explosion, as flames and what was burning on your friends is also burning on the sides of this 10-foot or 10-foot wide alley, as it kind of moves like blistering snails down each side. And as soft timber begins to light, this section of Baldur's Gate begins to smoke. You can try to alert your friends. Do you do so with your bird call?
Yes.
I'd like everyone to roll a perception check. I'm not going to allow advantage because this is just a bird call. There are no druids among you. Charlie, by God, that's a water Davian swallow right there. That's not, there's something not right about that.
No, there is something not right about that bird call. Where's my, I don't have my books. What goes cool? Anyone? Cool.
An owl.
Pigeon?
No, it's more accented.
They carry coconuts. What were those? Oh, you swallow.
Oh, yes, it doesn't sound like... No. I'm pretty sure it's not from around here, so maybe it's attracted to this green flame. Maybe it's a kind of phoenix.
We need to get moving.
Oh, but I
I
would
kind of want to see what the
Where-
Phoenix.
haven't heard any birds. Who would
You're
who-
right.
Where's
Uh,
my friend?
Also, wait, did any of them happen to notice any ball bearings from the explosion that would trigger them to?
We're going to say that the ball bearings, just because there was an explosion at ground zero of their deployment, are now at the very least pressed against the sides of the alley where they were embedded into the stucco of the wood of the buildings. I was going to roll for shotgun damage on a couple of people, but I decided not to.
Where did the goblin go? De Niro.
He wanted to scout ahead.
Hmm.
It's the cuckoo.
Yes, he is indeed cuckoo.
But I thought it was a bird.
I think he made the sound.
Oh, I thought you meant he's a goblin, not a bird.
Is he visible?
Hell no, he's rolled like 20 plus on his stealth checks. You can't see De Niro for shit. But you heard the Waterdavian swallow.
Okay, Toom will call out, De Niro, if that's you, make the owl sound.
What the fuck? An owl? You gotta be kidding me.
And then I'll. Does he want me to make an owl sound? Does he want me to make the sound I just made? God damn it. Can I roll like an insight check to see what he wants me to do with that request?
First off, I'm not sure that there's any right roll to this. I don't know if there's a nat 20 is going to glean any additional information. So, sure.
This is how we die, making bird sounds to each other.
You have no clue, De Niro. You have no clue what make the owl sound, but you heard it clear as day. And with your elevated position, it seems that all of the horde of zombies, or whatever they are, heard it as well. And they are beginning to walk, lean into their walk, stumble faster, and a few of them are starting to run.
I'll make the bird call. The same bird call that I've made.
Is that the right call, Tinder?
Cuckoo, that is the one.
All right. We don't see the zombies, right?
You all have not seen them at all, but I tell you what I am seeing. Godless Lawyer has come up with some of the best puns I think I've ever seen in my life. If you're watching on YouTube, this is all the more reason to please join us on Wednesday nights, just to join us in chat. Legion has some of the very best in the community that the TTRPG community has to offer. Godless, knocking it out of the park, my friend. Very, very funny stuff. No, you don't know where the zombies are. You're not sure what the hell this bird is, De Niro.
I'm
You
typing
see
up a
death
pun myself.
unfolding.
Give me a moment.
Greg, I feel like I should tell you the fire that is in Tinder's hand is still there because she hasn't done anything with it yet. But I'd like to flavor it as, like, when she absorbed the elements, it went green. Because she's still got that green fire that she absorbed.
Perfect. Yeah, it's as if it's contaminated as well. Yep.
Like it. Toom has dark vision. And he can see a little bit better, right?
Sure.
Just a little. So he's kind of worried about De Niro at this point. He doesn't understand the whole bird thing. He really doesn't get it at all. So he's just going to thump, and he's going to start actually moving pretty quickly. And he's going to break into a little bit of a thumping jog in his armor and just start to wildly look about.
Okay, let's do this. As the horde from the south approaches the intersection of the alley that Toombs is running towards, let's have Toombs make a dex roll. I will roll, and we'll see who gets there first. Toombs, you doom, 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 doom. And as you get there, without the need of a perception check, and you turn your head to your right, You do not see a bird. You do not see De Niro. You do not see something that goes coo, coo, coo. But you do see a pack of dozens of these creatures. As soon as they see you, metal-clad and loud, they begin to run. What would you like to do?
He turns fairly quickly, but not panicked in his movement, away from them, looking around. He's looking for, I don't know, are there any horses or any living creatures in this area?
I will allow everyone to roll a perception check.
Okay. And he will call out at the same time as he's looking, it's not an owl sound, it's the zombies.
Absolutely makes sense. Which means they're zombies. And Cyrano will start rushing towards Sir Tomb's direction.
Okay.
It is a siren song. They are trying to lure us into the dark.
That would explain them out on the water.
De Niro, as you see 3 of your 4 friends rushing in towards what is the host of the undead, you are the one that notices and catches the whinny of horses on the air as it blows from further north away from the zombies down the very lane cart path that Eddie indicated. And it is there that you turn and look, and just like that chestnut or that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, there lies a merchant armored wagon with 3 horses, no riders, as if left there for a plot device.
So I don't suppose any of them have noticed the rope yet.
I'm not going to take away player agency, but with a natural 1, there ain't no fucking way that Tomb saw it.
And how high was the strongest iron wrought balcony?
You're
or
about like,
garden?
we're going to say you're like second floor, just because you were able to get up there quick and get your rope down. You're a good 15 feet above the floor of everything, though.
And so Tombs is the closest.
Yeah, but Cyrano is running to engage, and then I'd like to know where Tinder and Eddie are before we begin something.
Tinder is following her darkness partner. She also has dark vision, but I just see everything in red, shades of red. It's like Predator infrared vision.
Sure. Eddie?
Eddie's kind of bumbling along, because funnily enough, Hugh's still with us, because I don't think it's been an hour.
Yeah, you still got...
So he has Hugh coming with him, and is going to be going as quickly as he can, as like he's just seeing everyone pass him. So it's like I'm supposed to be in the lead, just jogging along.
Okay, bringing up the rear. As we get to this area, and everybody is either at the intersection with Cyrano, Tombs, and Tinder, or coming towards the intersection with Eddie, or above the intersection with De Niro, it's time to roll some final initiative. Nice. Very good stuff.
Mine is actually an 18, I think. Yeah, it's an 18.
Okay, so it's still Charlie, though. And then Pope, Cleric, the bad guys, and then Tombs. All right. Billy, De Niro, as you look around, you see that something's going to break. Your friends and these zombies are rushing towards one another, some of them unawares. Tombs has yelled out that it's not a bird, it's the zombies. The rest of your friends seem to be rushing to prove that to be correct. You however, are elevated and they are unaware of your presence. You see the armored carriage a good block away. What does De Niro do?
Hey, first off, he looks down, uses a free action to speak.
Hey, dumbasses, there's a caravan over that way with horses and armor. We ain't all gonna make it. So, try your hardest. I'll do what I can.
And I'm gonna hold my action until before the zombies' turn.
Okay. Very good. Charlie, you're up. As you hit the intersection, you see what Toombs has seen, that these aren't birds at all, they are zombies. What do you do?
I throw straight away that produce flame that I've had burning on my hand. I need to make a ranged spell attack. Question, Greg, because I'm making a spell attack, can I send out my absorb elements fire with this as well?
Absolutely, and you do not have to roll to attack. You simply roll for damage, as you are going to hit this. This is like 8 marching bands rushing at you.
Alright, so 1d8 of just the produce flame fire, and then I think it's 1d6 for elements. It's either 1d6 or 2d6. Let's do 1d6. So that's what, 11? Double check my absorb elements. Yes, 1d6. So 11 fiery fire damage.
Fantastic, fantastic. And let's see, I know that we just had Jason, was that Jason, you brought that in for Toombs, correct? And I'm assuming that was the hold on real quick. Is that the swiftness?
The D12.
Yeah. Is it D12 or is it the extra 10 feet of movement? And then I just saw that we had 5 come in from TV. Who's that going towards? You guys could all put it in chat. It helps me out a little bit because Streamlabs is being real troublesome trying to put your stuff up today. Everything's been down for about 24 hours as far as notifications. So just let me know. Oh, D12 for Toombs, and I think there's 2 D12s for. Okay, yeah. Awesome. Yeah, put them in chat, everybody, and then players, make sure that you are aware of you're getting what for as we head down towards the final stretch here. And Charlie, you did 11 points of damage as you fire this into the mass in the crowd. It hits and begins to blister and lick the flame green, just like the flame that had consumed the Rot Father. And as it drifts and licks around this creature, it continues to run even though it is being consumed. What do you do with your bonus and movement?
For my bonus movement, I get a better stance, and I look really nervously at Sir Tomb, and wonder if this is a really great idea, and I look back towards De Niro, and that uses up all my bonus action. And for my movement, I'm just going to stay where I am.
Okay. Then we go down to Pope. Eddie, you're able to make it, you're supposed to be going first, but you see as soon as Tinder rolls around, like her namesake, she fires flames at something, and as you clear the corner, you see this mass, this mob. What do you do, Eddie?
Okay. Precisely how far away are they from me?
The Horde itself is roughly 20 feet.
Cool. I'm going to pull a page from my own book. And I'm going to use something as written from Prestidigitation. I want to create the smell of bleeding cattle. Having grown up near a slaughterhouse, towards the back of the Horde.
Okay. What's the range on Prestidigitation?
30 feet.
Okay.
So I'll be about mid. So I'm going to rush up close to the Horde, just kind of like skirt them. I have no sense, but this might be the one cent that gets me free. And toss the scent into the Horde, and that's it for me.
What's your DC? Your spell DC?
Save DC is 11.
For a moment, you see...
No, 13.
Okay. With them, they actually would have a 13 off of what was rolled. You see several of them look for a moment. They don't seem drawn to it as if that they seem confused, but they continue to rush. What do? You still have your move. We're going to say you got there and you still have your movement left. What would you like to do, Eddie, as you've cast Prestidigitation? Anything else in your book of tricks?
Not much. Well, I can still use my bonus action. Cast Shillelagh, tapping the club. So, and with that, can I see De Niro since he's been yelling at us out of the corner of my eye?
Yeah, we can say that he's revealed his position enough to at least you have a general idea of where he is, yeah.
Do I see the rope?
Sure. Yeah, we'll say that at this point, your eyes are drawn not to De Niro, but to the dangling rope that seems out of place here.
I'll make my way towards the rope, but I'm not going to climb. Just going to, wrap the bit of the shillelagh with the end of the rope, pull taut, act as a bit of an anchor, and just try and gesture to get my friends to the rope.
Okay. So you hook it, wrap it around the shillelagh, you have it set and ready, you're trying to direct them through. Cyrano. You see everything as narrated. You see Tinder and Tombs staring and standing against the Horde. You see Eddie attempt something and then retreat to the rope that you now see leading up into a wrought iron balcony. But what does Cyrano do?
Cyrano will step forward as he sees Eddie going to the rope. Away from the Horde. Please, everyone, climb the rope. I will fend them off. And he will cast Shatter right in the middle of them. He wants, in that 10-foot sphere, he wants as many of them as he can get.
Sure. Is there a save for that, or is it just damage? I always forget.
There is a save. It is Constitution. DC is 12.
Super failure.
So that's 16 thunder for every one of those things within a 10-foot sphere.
Okay. So what we're going to do, a 10-foot sphere, I tell you what, to see how packed they are, roll me a D20.
Three.
So towards the back, 3 of them go flying up into the air, almost as if a catapult or a siege weapon of war had fired some massive projectile into the Horde. And you see, as a couple of them go flying. However, the mob itself does not slow as it rushes towards your friends on the ground level. Do you have anything else, Cleric?
Cyrano will place himself between the others in the Horde, pull his rapier and his dagger. Go, my friends. Sir Tomb, keep them alive.
So the 3 of you are standing there. The zombies are ready to act, but Billy, you have a held action. What is it that De Niro wanted to do?
So now that people know that the rope is there, he wants to use the second story work to get to the... Was this building 5 stories or shorter?
This one I think we said was 3, and then its neighboring are anywhere from 4 to 5. But you've got... What are you trying to do? And I'll let you know if you can do it.
Get to the roof. Get to the and start rooftop jumping from that point, but I wanted to see if there was anything on the roof of the building that I could use that would be beneficial to the situation. It's probably, this is before water towers.
Well, no, they would still have rain collectors and cisterns on the top of a lot of these buildings. I tell you what, let's have a good old D20 roll. If you get a 1 through a 10, nope. 11 through 20, by God, there it is. It seems as if this roof had just been cleaned off for some type of renovation. It looks like they were making like a nice sitting area, a garden perhaps. Nothing here though that you think could be utilized as a weapon.
All right, and then so between my vantage point and the crate with the horses, the cart with the horses, is there anything in that distance that I can perceive that might be of any use to help in this situation?
Other than the armored cart, you see several abandoned carts. You see bodies of what looks like beasts of burden that have fallen. No weapons, nothing that strikes your, there's no barrels of oil or anything like that lying around. It's just the everyday constructs of a port city.
Gotcha. All right. So then I'm going to, from my vantage point at the top of this building, pull out my short bow and try to pick off the closest one to my comrades.
Simply roll. Okay, if you're going to aim at a specific person, go ahead and roll me an attack. I will let you know that this will hit something in that mass, though.
Okay.
Yep, you see it thunk into the lead one that you are shooting at. Roll me some damage. With 13 piercing damage and with your sneak attack damage as well, it drives into one of the creatures. Do you have anything left, Billy?
Yeah, so this is a dire situation, and him being cocky in the face of danger, wants to take his short bow, set it down at his side, and as the zombies, or as the monstrosities start to approach, undo his pants and start urinating off the top of the buildings. Like, if I'm gonna go, I'm gonna be disrespectful to these assholes.
I'm going with an empty bladder. All right, so as you begin to piss on the mob of zombies, that was the missing ingredient. They melt. No, it doesn't. You figured it out. You read my notes. I would like Cyrano. I would like Tombs. And I would like Tinder to all roll me strength saving throws as the horde hits you.
Do I have to apply inspiration beforehand, or can I apply it afterwards?
Afterwards, it's 10. Before, it's 5.
Oh, I mean,
your inspiration. No, you can roll and then put your inspiration if you want.
Okay, cool. All right.
Definitely, this isn't an int saving throw, Greg.
Yes.
I think I'd like to use 10 of my honor.
That
Okay.
didn't roll right. Yes, it did. Never mind.
Okay.
Oh no, we're in trouble.
Let's see. 10 from Cyrano. That's the last of Cyrano's honor. Cyrano, go ahead and re-roll your strength save. Cyrano and Tinder, you are pulled down by the horde as Tombs they break in front of Tombs' armored form, just bouncing off of his large frame. But the two of you are drugged down beneath the mass. And because you are surrounded by their kin who jump and bite and nip at every ounce of exposed flesh, or even through boots, I need you both to roll me dexterity saving throws, and the DC is 20.
Do I have any on a list?
Let's see. I have you as having 15. Cyrano has none.
Oh, then I would like to roll at advantage, please, Greg.
Sure
The
thing.
5 on it.
That's a 21, Greg.
It's a 9, Greg.
So, even though you have fought them off beneath you, Cyrano, you turn and for a moment you are face to face with Tinder. And Tinder, you feel the teeth tear into your back just below the shoulder blade. And you feel this rage begin to seep into your soul. But there, eye to eye with your companion, you have a moment beneath this pile. What do you say to Cyrano?
This was not the kind of love bite I wanted to end the night with.
And with those words, Cyrano, you see Tinder's eyes flicker green, glow. The jaw goes slack, and then it begins to chomp and bite towards you as well. We go back
There's no
up
way I
to
could have prevented that. There's no way I could have inserted. He could have inserted himself between her. And
you were already down as well, too. Yeah, you avoided the bite, but you're still dogpiled by these things. Tombs, you are up. 2 of your friends are down. You are unaware of the fatal bite delivered to Tinder. What do you do?
So, situationally, Horde of zombies just rushed towards us, moving the same speed that I move, or are they faster?
I will let you know this, that if you started running with them beside you, chances are they're going to be running with you. They seem to be just as fast as you are.
And how far away is that armored cart with the horses?
It's a block away, so we'll see. It's about 50 feet. About 50 feet. Yes, and what they're talking about, Charlie, in chat, is that the seat directly, the one that you're in, has killed everybody that's played this game. I almost made a new box and then decided, no, it couldn't possibly continue. I apologize.
This is the hot seat. It is where I am meant to be.
It is.
So, as they bounce off of his armor, he turns, he sees the cart, and he realizes he could make it there, he thinks. But he does kind of feel guilty because Cyrano has consistently stuck her neck out for him in the last, terrible hour, however long it's been. And he sees the rope too, right? Like, he's aware of the rope because Eddie's holding on to, he's keeping it taut.
Yeah, we'll say that everybody at this point is aware now of De Niro's rope.
All right, can I make an athletics check to reach down and grab Cyrano and pull them up?
Here's what I will allow. Yes, you can do that, but if you pull Cyrano free, if you succeed on your check, Cyrano will be free, but Tombs will now be stuck.
Oh, he won't be able to leave. He'll be grappled instead. Sir Tomb, a worm crawls out of the corner of the hole in one of his mask's eyes, and it drops down towards the zombies as they're bouncing off of him. And he kind of, for a second, I imagine he sees Cyrano's face in the crowd. And he calls out, "I hope you make it. I hope you live to see the age of worms." And then he'll turn and he's going to hoof it to try to get to the cart with the horses. He's going to leave Cyrano behind.
Okay, Tombs, do you have any honor at this point?
No honor.
Okay, then that means you have negative 15 honor, as you have left not one but two of your friends behind, though you don't know that Tinder has been bitten. Tombs, you are now dishonored as you run towards the cart. However, because of the feast that is currently going on, there are no opportunity attacks, and you have your action and your bonus action and your movement to do whatever it is you would like if you want to try to dash towards the cart.
Yeah, he's going to try to dash towards it, get on the back of one of those horses, and get that cart a-moving.
Okay, roll me an animal handling check as Sir Tombs, wormy teardrops and all, gets to the cart.
I'm going to use my inspiration, my D12.
Okay.
Oh no.
This one's for you, Tia. As you get towards the horse, the smell of death or worms or the same assaults the horse, who's already spirited and wild from what's been going on with the fire and explosions and the, rampaging undead. And as you attempt to mount the horse bucks and it sends Sir Tombs flying over. And I'll roll me a dex save to see if you can recover this without taking any damage.
15.
You do. So you take 1 point of fall damage as you kind of scuff yourself as you hit the ground. But the horse throws you to the cobblestones of Baldur's Gate. That is your move as we go to the top of the round. Billy, hell is breaking loose on the streets below you, and you, my friend, are out of urine. What would you like to do now?
Can I see Eddie?
Yeah, you'd be able to, from your vantage point, you can see Eddie down by the rope with the shillelagh wrapped around it.
All right, dumbass, I've done as much as I can. Make use of this. I can't do anything else.
And so he's going to, with the second story work, try to scale through the buildings, through on the rooftops to find a good vantage point to jump out onto the armored cart.
Yeah, absolutely. You are walking in the footsteps of the gods from an elevated position. Roll me an acrobatics as you descend, just to see if you can get how well you get to the cart, and then roll me an animal handling as you get there.
All right, advantage on the acrobatics. So
Sure.
Down to 10. Come on now. I don't know why that menu keeps popping up when I click it.
Yeah, I mean, it's not the prettiest landing that you've had, but you're able to, land. You don't hurt yourself. There's a slight hitch in your giddy up as you run over to the horses. And so roll me that animal handling check to see if you fare better than your armored friend.
And then I'm going to use advantage on this one as well.
Almost got the second one, Tia. Okay, so with a nat 20, you are able to settle the horses after Tomb's arrival. And you can see that in this armored merchant's wagon, there is an armored station where the driver sits. And the reins go up into this station. And then there's also, much like a stagecoach, an area below that would either be housed with valuables or personnel. All these doors seem open, and the horses are just sitting there because this is a plot device. Where would you like to go?
Let's see what's in this MFer. I'm gonna pop that shit open.
You open it up. Nobody is in the driver's compartment. It is ready and waiting for the goblin named De Niro to have a seat and ride this paddy wagon.
All right, so I'm getting the seat, and then so I'm assuming my movement's done. I'm just going to wait until everyone's had a chance. I'm gonna wait till chaos strikes, and then bolt.
Absolutely. So with the end of your turn, we go to Charlie. Charlie, I would like you, if you would please, to roll me an acrobatics check, please.
Okay. Acrobatics. This is a +0. Okay, that's easy. 20. No, that's not how you type. I can't type anymore at that point in the night. 12.
I need you to make a dex saving throw, Cat. Your DC is 12. And just hitting the DC required, you are able to avoid the bite from your former friend as Tinder attempts to take the cheek from your face as her teeth snap with an audible crunch. You can feel her lips touch against the side of your cheeks, but her teeth do not find purchase.
Alas, Tinder, if only circumstances were different had you attempted that.
Always turn the other cheek.
I'm afraid not this time, my love.
As we leave Zombie Charlie or Zombie Tinder, we go over to Eddie. Eddie, shit's gone south, super south. What would you like to do? You're still on the ground level. It's up to you, my friend.
I need to know what I see. Do I see that Cyrano's still fending them off?
Roll me a perception check.
Come on, roll 20. Just this once. Just this damn once.
I am going to say that you can see, because of the actions of earlier with the thunder wave and the three of them, or the shatter and the three of them being moved out of the way, you can just make out the fact that Cyrano seems to still, for a moment, you see their face as they are moving beneath this dog pile, but you also notice that Tinder is no longer among the living.
Okay. Seeing that Toombs is no longer there, I'm just going to go use my bonus action. Hugh, get Toombs in the cart. Because Hugh can operate up to 60 feet away.
Right away, sir.
And then taking cards in hand, looks up. Cyrano, you want to make a deal? I can't leave my patrons without an agent.
Then go. I will hold them off. Make your escape.
You're the worst.
And the best.
Unfortunately for you, they don't work that way. And I'm going to throw one card from my deck of shadows. and then I'm going to leap into the Horde, calling upon every last ounce of the pact to detonate my form and push Cyrano free. I'm going to use the last of my honor, if you don't mind. I'll use my inspiration as well. $28.
Greg, you're muted.
Oops, my bad. As the card floats through the air, the green motes drop down like snowflakes along its surface, the abyssal word for death illuminated several times in its flight. And as it hits the ground, and as Eddie jumps in himself, a bomb of some divine power, striking like a bowling ball, much like their friend who has ceased to exist back out in the bay. As he hits, the last thing that you see, you fall into the arms of a large zombie. This zombie appears to be or had been, a woodcutter, a mountain man, if you will. And instead of biting you when you land into his frame, he cradles you as one would a loved one, drawing you close as your body is consumed in the just fires. Cat, make a saving throw for Cyrano. Dexterity, please.
That's a strong 6.
It is a strong 6, and I appreciate it. You are knocked and blown to the side, and as you're lying there, another of these forms catches you before you can rise. Another one smashes to the side. I need you to make a dexterity saving throw as teeth search for your flesh.
That would be a 9.
The creature on top of you moves. It sinks its teeth into your neck, right where the muscle connects to the shoulder, right above the collarbone. But it does not linger and drink or tear. And as it pulls back and looks into your eyes, for a moment, you can see yourself in Tinder's gaze again. But this time, there is no smile, there's no quip. And Tinder swallows the chunk that she has torn free as you begin to feel the same rage that consumed her. Do you have any last words, Cyrano?
Mark how my point floats, light as the foam, ready to drive you back to the wall. Then, as I end the refrain, thrust home, and he will take his dagger that he has been holding on to, and he will thrust it into Tinder's temple.
You drive it home. Just as you lose control, the will to drive the dagger, but it still finds purchase, takes Tinder in the head. She falls limp, and so do you, but your body rises as it joins the others, the remaining dozen or so, the rest burning not from green fire, but from some other fairy construct as motes of a different color float through the air, summoned by Eddie. They begin to move towards the wagon. Hugh, not able to help Sir Toombs. But Sir Toombs, you see an explosion. You do not see your friends, but you do see De Niro behind the wheel of this armored carriage. What do you do?
He stands up, turns around, climbs into the back of the carriage. Is the back open?
Yeah, the personnel or the valuable compartment is open like a stagecoach.
All right. Climbs into the back of it. We'll call over to De Niro. Go to Candlekeep. They will have answers there. The robed people who live there are very smart. They know things.
Not fine to taking orders. That's what I was gonna do anyway.
Well, maybe we should probably do it now.
Right in the middle of the sentence, he'll buck the horses on.
He kind of jolts and I imagine like almost falls out. But I think his goal is like stand at the back, ready his weapon for an attack. If one of them rushes close, he can knock him back away. But if it's a horde of them coming at that cart, I think Tomb's held action would be to shut it.
Okay. As you're moving, the horses can quickly outpace these zombies as they're making their way. And this is the end of our session for the Fall of Faerun. However, we have a character ending with dishonor. And so I will ask Sir Toombs, make one death saving throw.
I didn't know this was a thing. A 9.
De Niro, as you are up in the armored compartment of this conveniently placed armored merchant's wagon, you are able to somehow make it through the burning and fallen city of Baldur's Gate. But when you get to the outside and are headed towards Candlekeep, you realize you have not heard from Sir Toombs in quite some time. When you stop, climb down and look into the back, there is nothing but worms. Hundreds of them, crawling along the seats, in and out of rich earth that seems to have appeared from nowhere. But as for your friend, he is nowhere to be seen. And that, my friends, is where we will end the Fall of Faerun. Yay! De Niro made it.
I'm so sweaty.
Damn.
All right, everybody, let's go around and say goodbye to everyone. Tell us who you are, what you'll be doing, and promote what you would like as we go in reverse order. Let's start with Pope. Pope, how are you? Hey!
Hey! Oh, that was something. So glad to be here. Glad to be here with you, Legion. And for those of you watching on YouTube, thank you for watching. And if you can come be here with this amazing community, I implore you to do so. Monday, Wednesday night, Sundays, whenever. Come be a part of this family. As for tonight, well, I just feel like a little tickle of irony considering my history with this wonderful community, as there was my first experience was in a place where hope was all lost and 2 people made it out. Asterisk. But this go round, Billy, you made it, buddy. Love it. The goblin survives. Remember that, everyone. The goblin survives. And with that, I will leave you guys. If you're looking for me, it is Pope World Build on the Twitter, World Build on the Twitch. I lurk in all your streams. Love you all. Have a fantastic evening.
Fantastic, my friend. Thank you so much for being here as we drop down to the Soul Survivor. Question mark? Asterisk? Billy, how are you doing, my friend?
Man, I'm doing all right. This meat grinder stuff is fun. This was a riot. I don't play rogues often, if at all, but this was a really good time, and I really fell in love with this. When did we have this? When did this come about? Like 2 days ago?
About, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I find it's the most hastily made characters that I find myself the most attached to. You know, because you wing it, you go, you're playing as that character, and then it finds a life of its own once it's bounced off of like relationships with other people and situations, and then just kind of finds its own thing. And De Niro was fucking fun as hell. Greg, thank you for putting this together. Legion, thanks for tuning in and having a great time. Hopefully, YouTube and VOD watchers, thank you guys so much for watching this right now. You guys have more impact than you can realize. And please join us for the live experience, because you get to see all of the shitty puns that I make and all of the amazing puns that everyone else makes. Really looking forward to getting started, wrapping up May Black Roses Bloom and getting started with Realms Remembered, which is Realms Remembered Monday at 6 p.m. soon, and then May Black Roses Bloom, same bat time, same bat channel, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. And I didn't think I'd win. I thought I'd be the one being selfish and then having to nobly sacrifice himself for the betterment of others. But man, let me tell you what, those fucking ball bearings came in clutch AF, man. Every rogue gets those. Use them. Look at them. Use them. They're perfect for any situation. Ballroom, fucking perfect. Yeah, thank you guys so much, Cleric, Pope, Charlie, Don, and especially Greg. I've never had you as a DM before, but this was dope.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Very glad to have you. I love De Niro. Let's go over to Charlie, who left all of her books on the boat, but did not lose her cosplay point. Fantastic, my friend. How are you doing?
I had the best time. I love that I'm now an adult that has a huge fancy dress box, and literally every day of the week I get to go and find something in it to put on. I am, however, dying. It is very warm here in the UK. And it's going to be even warmer tomorrow as we hit record temperatures. But weather complaints aside, being very British about that, I do have something else coming up tomorrow that I do want to talk about, which is over on RPG Webby's channel. We will be doing a charity joust tournament featuring a whole heap of people and a whole heap of giveaways, and we are raising money for Mermaids, which is a UK-based charity for transgendered and gender diverse youth, focusing on education, support, and helplines, and all of the resources that those people really need. And we are aiming for a big goal of £1,000, and if we hit that goal, we have 2 Wormwood dice vaults to give away and a Switch. And we have a ton of other prizes to give away in the meantime on our way to that point. Don will be there playing Sir Oliver, who you might know from our main campaign, After the Fire. And there's a lot of other nights. So go check out RPG Webby's tweets to find out more about that. We will be there at 3 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. UK. We're playing for like 3 to 4 hours. It's going to be a lot of fun. Please come support. And if you can't be there, retweet. And I've also posted a link. Anything donated to my Ko-fi in the next 2 days, or coffee, whatever you want to call it, gets thrown into the total as well. So lots of ways to help out and support us.
Fantastic, my friend. And everybody, Sam's information is in chat. If you follow the Twitch TV RPG Webby, it'll take you right there. Follow that up so you can see the notifications when they go live tomorrow. It's going to be a joust. I am super duper stoked. I'll be stoked. I'll be listening on data from my broken phone, but listen I shall, for the honor of winning the joust. And speaking of an honor, it is always an honor to play with Cleric. Cleric, my friend, how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty well for a dead half orc. Hi, I'm Kat. I'm a cleric of Horde. Cyrano is. I love Cyrano. I love bards that are based on fictional characters. I love being able to use that language and to share it. And Cyrano is a chance to do that. And Cyrano is a romantic at heart, and Cyrano is always going to sacrifice himself for the others because that's who Cyrano is. As long as his hat and his white plume, the plume stayed clean. Lots of stuff coming up next week on Friday. Keep an eye out for that. This Friday, however, Basilica of Cudgel is a Greyhawk game we'll be wrapping up shortly, where I actually get to play the paladin, who's a halfling. Those are the ancients. So we've got fae, we've got paladins, and we've got halflings covered in various combinations. Come check us out on Encounter Roleplay. That'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern. Otherwise, check my pinned tweet for what's going on. And thanks for coming out and watching. Thank you on YouTube. Do try to catch us live and go follow every one of these people, because I'm telling you, you sit at their table and it just gets elevated to the next level. They're fantastic.
Right back at you, my friend. Let's jump up to the first person in Fall of Faerun. It's brief history, but the one to end with dishonor. My dear friend Don. Don, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm so good. I'm so good. Yeah, I really enjoyed it a lot. I'm not surprised that Sir Tomb ended with dishonor. I don't think he's the least honorable person ever, but he's not good. I always enjoy getting to play him. I don't get to play him very often. He's the worst knight. He's just the worst knight. But I really enjoyed everybody else's characters. There's so much color in the group, which is a great part of doing a Forgotten Realms campaign in general. I think is that, like, there's always so much variety in characters, and that was true tonight. It was a really fun one shot. I like the mechanics of honor and dishonor and all the saving throws. My armor class didn't help me at all. I knew it wouldn't because I saw the rest of the episodes. Like, I went into it knowing, like, oh, this isn't optimal, but this is going to be fun, and that's what I had. A lot of fun. So yeah, it was great to get to play with everybody, especially Pope and Cleric. I don't get to play with you all that often, but whenever I do, I have a blast. And then as for what I'm up to, we didn't have May Black Roses Bloom tonight for absences in the cast. Next week, we will not have May Black Roses Bloom because of Gen Con, people being gone for that, but we will be back in 2 weeks with more May Black Roses Bloom. I'm so excited about where we are in that campaign, as the next episode will pretty much shape what's left of the story that we're telling right now. So I'm really excited for that. I have a bunch of adventure modules that I've written that are going to be coming out soon over the next couple of months, working with like DM's Guild and Modifius and Peterson Games and a bunch of cool people. So if you don't follow me and you're interested, that's what I tweet about, mostly being here with my friends. And when I have something I've written, I share that too. But thank you very much for having me tonight. And Greg, you haven't DM'd me in a while. I missed it. It was a lot of fun, man.
Oh, thanks, buddy. Everybody here for the channel, we're gonna have a bit of a break because of Gen Con and some summer vacations coming up. However, we do have some fun little mini campaigns popping up. We do have Sky Chasers on Sunday beginning at 3 p.m., which is its relatively new time. And then on this coming Monday at 9 o'clock, we will have some Modifius Star Trek Adventures, Star Trek Continuing Mission. We have a great cast for that. I will just tell you that Just a Summer Job is the captain. We'll see how that goes. And then we might do something next week, a community Legion event with everybody on Wednesday night to maybe have some fun. And for us, they're not going to the con. And then I believe a week from Friday, next Friday, we're going to do a little Alien. And I think Cleric's going to be there. And we're going to play some Alien, so we should have some fun. A lot of fun things. So just follow us up, follow for going live notifications, have some fun, join us on Discord and all that good stuff. But right now we're gonna go raid. We're gonna be afraid. We should be afraid, but we're gonna go raid our friend Tia. And whenever we get over there, the raid cry is simply this: the Goblin wins. So when we get over there, let everybody know that the Goblin wins. And thank you very much, everybody. TV, Godless Lawyer for the puns today, everybody that donated for this nice little one-shot. The Fall of Faerun's a nice little setting, but as the campfire goes down, there is only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s, but you can always role play. See you later, friends.